What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 21.
I got some people at Kind of Funny Live
Gamescast.
saying, you're right, that sucks. And he should stop doing that.
And I had some people Kind of Funny Live saying it was fucking awesome.
Oh, I hate it when this happens. There's no clear feedback. Who wins?
Yeah, well,
I'm with
we
you.
should make two we should make two opposing shirts. One that says whatever.
And then have a debate.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Maybe
Two
Kind of Funny Live
back-to-back
too.
T-shirt Tuesdays.
Yes. Oh, it's a genius idea. So here's the deal, guys. I'm Tim Gettys, if you didn't know that. I'm here with the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Hi.
We're joined by a very special guest. His name is Trevor Starkey.
Hello.
You might know him on Twitter as Snarky Starkey,
Snarky Starkey.
which is a great name.
Thank you.
Great name.
Somebody
Why-
has it on Instagram. I found that out this
Those
week.
motherfuckers. I hate when that happens.
See, I thought that, and then I thought, well, he's probably pissed that I have it on Twitter.
That's true.
It's
Way
Now
better
we're
to
at a
have it on
stalemate.
Twitter than
Yeah,
Instagram.
Twitter's a little bit more
Yeah.
important. So here's the deal. Why are you here right now?
I'm here because when I switched out of the Symphony of the Night book club tier, I switched right into the Patreon tier to be on the Gamescast.
And that is amazing.
Thank you so much.
That is
Thank you.
awesome. And also
I'm
you were
happy
here
to support you guys.
because you were at Kind
and
of
I was
Funny
at Kind
Live,
of Funny Live. Yes, that was.
you're
That
in
was
the beautiful-
Also, I doubled up and made it a week-long vacation.
which makes sense because you're now in San Francisco, California, but you were from
Phoenix, Arizona.
that's far away, guys.
Are you the final Kind of Funny Live? Are you like the last toy on the island of misfit toys here?
I might be. I mean, certainly of the core group that I've been hanging out with for the last week.
sure.
Yeah. I know Sean and Alex left yesterday, and
Do you have tearful goodbyes with them?
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all said our goodbyes after we did after the picnic in the park. We did taco shop at Underdogs, and that was kind of where everybody kind of hopped in their Ubers and
Underdog's so good.
and went our ways.
Yeah. Before we get into the whole rigmarole, how was your Kind of Funny Live experience overall?
Oh, so great! This has been one of the most memorable weeks of my life. Kind of Funny itself. I was one of the kind of the core group of like 30 or 40 people that were hanging out starting Thursday. We did our first kind of thing at Wing Wings.
Yeah.
And then went and saw Avengers. Sat right next to Greg, and that was awesome. And then
I didn't fall asleep.
You did not. My
Cameron
roommate
did.
Cameron did, and
And
I
snored
and
like a freight
snored.
train in
and then
Avengers.
I didn't hear him during Avengers. I was apparently sitting far enough away from him, but I heard him the rest of the trip snoring, and that was
Great.
That was exciting. So
Oh, that's
Cameron,
Colin's favorite.
thanks for that.
That's why Nick and I have to sleep in the same room when
Yeah.
we travel because I can't sleep with this fucking.
It was great after.
I'm borderline.
Yeah, after Kind of Funny Live, I got home first and fell asleep, and then woke up at some point in the middle of the night, and he had been home, and I was like, he's not snoring. What's going? He just like face planted into the pillow, and so any snoring was
he
being
was
muffled by
dead.
that. I was a little afraid of that.
Was he crying into it due to the no mercy ass whooping I had given him right before he left?
He probably was. That was probably a huge factor in why he was so sad.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast, where we talk to you every week about video games and all the cool stuff that you want to hear about. It comes live every Friday, the new episode. You can get it early over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can get it late, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, however you want. It's broken up topic by topic, Monday through Thursday. I'm doing a pretty okay job doing all this, so I'm pretty happy about
Very
that.
good. I want to jump in real quick,
Yeah.
just to remind people because we have a lot of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames supporters here. That Colin and Greg Live is now available at the $15 tier, which is already the established tier for all the early podcasts, the exclusive podcasts, and the Q&A. But we threw in Colin and Greg Live every day on YouTube as a private link if you want that as well. And it's resonating, Greg.
Yeah, people are happy.
It's resonating like a bell that has been rung, but you can still hear the chime of it.
I was looking. It looks like you guys got a lot of new people in that tier the last few days.
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
very
we debated frankly like what level to put that at, and we were actually at a higher level, and then I was like, well, no, like let's do it at a lower level
Yeah.
because I think that people really want it, and now they're gonna get it.
Yeah, it's good. I'm really excited to see how that turns out because Colin and Greg Live is a great show, and I wish
Thank you.
that
It's
more
something.
people get to see it. So
It's a show.
yeah,
It's
it's
something.
definitely something.
It's a
definitely-
garbage truck on fire. slowly
Yeah,
going
yeah,
down the
yeah.
street.
That is true.
Speaking, garbage truck on fire is everything that we do. It's
true.
Kind of Funny Live.
It's true.
Garbage truck on fire just happened to be a nice shiny garbage
Yeah,
truck.
yeah.
It,
And
it
there-
was pretty solidly run. Like there were very few hiccups that I noticed. So
Yeah, well, that's great to hear.
job. So
Yeah.
no, it was a very solid night from the user.
Good.
end.
That's the one that's the only angle
That's
we
the
care
only that
about.
matters.
Yeah, we announced the Kind of Funny forums over there. So if you guys haven't been there yet, definitely check out kindoffunny.com/forums. Get your username. Go start talking. Specifically in terms of Gamescast, there's a video game discussion forum. Let's get going there because I want to take a lot of your topics and stuff. Usually I get them from Twitter. I want to start getting them from the forums. So please start
I like
going
that.
there. Start
Great.
doing all that stuff. It's going to be fun. We made a lot of announcements. Wait, you gonna say something?
Yeah.
What's up?
That's
You're
usually
s-
what Greg's sign is.
You're starting to go into the rigmarole here.
Mhm.
I just wanted to have a moment to talk about how good The Witcher is.
Okay.
The Witcher's so good.
Is it good?
Colin, are you enjoying The Witcher?
Yeah, I'm liking it very much. I mean, it's horrifying for someone like me to play a game like that because I'm so OCD. It's like that's why I didn't finish Far Cry 4 because eventually I was like I played Far Cry 4 for like 30 hours and I didn't even get close to beating it because I'm like getting every little treasure and I'm like I can't play it like and after a while I can't do this anymore.
And so like last night you just went through and got every question mark and
Dude,
every other thing.
yeah, so I like on the second map, which is a huge map, I activated every side quest and activated all the signposts so you could quick travel. I have literally 50 side quests that like I have not engaged. That like are just there and it says like suggested level and some of them are like level 33 and I'm like I'm level 4.
Yeah.
You know, so and now there's a bunch of question marks I got to go like investigate.
It's been a long time where I've been so amped for a game and then it got here and it lived up to the expectations and all I want to do is play it. You know what I mean?
Good.
This has been the first time where we've had a game come out that I've been anticipating while we're running the business. And so now it's like, oh, fuck, I got work to do.
Yeah.
I got to message all these Patreon people.
Someone
just make it like a Let's Play for the next
I keep
month.
trying to think about
Every
it.
Let's Play is that for the next
We should
month.
just record some Let's Plays of it tomorrow.
No, we are. That's on the schedule.
Cool. Someone tweeted me a picture of he's like, this is me leaving work so I can play Witcher 3, and it was a shot of Costanza pushing the clown out of the way on that episode of Seinfeld where the thing's on fire. You guys probably don't know.
I remember.
Nice.
Kev remembers. Thank
Kevin
you.
knows.
I just wanted to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, no,
this
Witcher
is the first
definitely
time
needs to get
I've been
its-
on a Gamecast since The Witcher dropped, and I'm very, very much in love.
Good. Very, very good.
We have to take this idiot out to dinner. I'm just gonna be like,
sorry.
Give me a Coke. I'll drink the Coke, and I'm like, you had your dinner.
I'm
See ya."
here, so
Witcher time.
it's at home waiting for me now. I got the
that's
email
even
from
worse for
Amazon
you.
today, and I'm like, God damn it!
That's even
Why
worse,
did I do this?
Why
I'm
did I do this stupid show?
sitting with these idiots for a couple days.
Playing The Witcher.
I have a slight correction. You said you're going to order a Coke, and then they're going to be like, is Pepsi okay?
Nah.
Yes, exactly.
Game over ratio.
So, okay, we're talking about Kind of Funny Live. We made a lot of announcements there.
Right.
A lot of huge announcements that change the world,
That's as
the
far as I
universe
understand,
of
yeah.
Kind of Funny, at the very
The
least.
cinematic universe.
Some of those announcements, I think, got overlooked. One of those announcements being the fact that Tim Gettys is now the proud owner of a PlayStation Vita. Yes.
We fucking did it, Shu!
You did it. You did it. This is it's an OLED one. I got a brand new one off of eBay.
Wow, nice.
In box.
How much did it cost?
It cost me $90.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's really good.
I made off like a
The Vita market's
goddamn
dropping.
bandit.
I'm
Like a
pretty sure
rock.
I included that in my recap of the event.
Yeah,
I
you
think
did.
That was
You
the
did. You
kickoff.
did. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is good. Now my topic for today, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting at this table with two of the probably biggest faces of the PlayStation Vita, and I know you are also a supporter of this handheld
Indeed.
console.
With its vast library.
Vast
of
library,
games.
yeah.
And
I
it
need-
really does have a vast
I want to
library.
be now indicted into this world. What do I need? What do I need to do here? Because here's the thing.
Trade
Earlier,
it and get the new Vita Slim.
no, not
No,
gonna,
no,
not gonna do
no.
that.
Better?
Definitely-
You want the OLED.
I
Better
know,
battery?
I know. So here's the
This
thing, Colin.
chunky bastard.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's great.
Just because
So,
you've
Colin,
got
you
fat
keep-
fingers, Greg.
You keep giving me shit because you're like, oh, it's not turning on, it's not turning on, and then like you just a second ago, like you had to hold it to turn it on. I'm
Yeah.
like, and you're like, why do you do it that way? I'm like, I've literally have not.
Yeah, it still has the
Set it up
factory
yet.
settings on it. Yeah, so I mean that's one thing is that you never turn the Vita off. I don't think I've turned my Vita off in 3 years.
But is that something that everyone does? Is that like
cool
that's
kids.
what the cool kids
Until it
really?
I mean, yeah,
Until it
in the same
freezes,
way
yeah.
that you can just like close the clamshell of the 3DS and everything stays active, you can just push a button on there
but
and
I've
not
never
turn
done
it
that. I
completely.
always
But
turn it
unlike
off.
You turn your
3DS
3DS off too?
Yeah.
You are insane.
But
Why?
unlike the 3DS,
Why do you
the
do
3DS
that?
will
Why
die.
wait?
I care about battery.
The 3DS will die
That's
if you do
fair.
that for a few days. The Vita will not die. The Vita can stay on for literally weeks
Yeah.
and be totally fine. So, yeah, you
So
want
what
to
do
do
you
that.
do?
So you turn after you go through all the factory settings, you just press the button on the top and it goes like that, and then you press it again and it
Yeah,
goes.
just putting it to sleep.
So it's
Yeah,
like
it goes to
it's
sleep
more
with
like a phone then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. See, like you just do that.
Listen to that music. God, I love that.
So
music.
nice.
The setup music.
Oh yeah, that's
Remember this when we imported them from Japan and we turned them on? I'm like, wow, set the date. Yeah.
Vita, and then I did Welcome Park and I got all the trophies.
Yeah, we're like trophies.
This brings up something very interesting to me because I feel like a lot of consoles have functions like sleep functions and like different ways to turn it on and off. And maybe I've just been doing everything wrong my entire life. Let's go back to the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
How did you guys turn that off when you were done using it?
Tap the button.
On the front?
Yeah. You threw the master
Oh, you
power in
Never
the
did
back?
that thing? Really?
That's a joke. You didn't do that.
Tim, you're so
That's-
young.
That's all I do. I always would do that every single time.
You're very
You're
inexperienced.
very
My
young,
God.
Peter.
This is so weird. And then PS3, how did you do that?
On the fat PS3,
Yeah.
you would just shut it off with the cross media bar and then it
Yeah.
would go red. You
Yeah.
would never hit the switch on the back. There's no reason to
I
do
guess
that.
it's true. Yeah, PS3 I wouldn't do that.
And then PS4, there's really no way to shut it off.
Isn't that what the fuck? Why not?
Because eventually they realized there were people like you running around that were shutting things off for no reason, and they're like, "There's no reason to do that, so we're just not going to give you a
They
button
make it
at all."
so hard to turn it off.
It's
I'm just
such
like,
a pain in the ass.
why?
As somebody who moves PlayStation 4s around this house, every time you move it and you think it's off and you plug it in somewhere else, it's like,
Oh,
shut
you
down,
fucked
right?
it up. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it has
it's not that hard to turn off.
Fucking audacity then to tell you how to turn it off properly next time. I'm like, I thought I did. I held the button. You went from yellow to nothing. I unplugged you, but I didn't give you the 5 minutes of nothing. I guess
The weird thing about the PS4 is that it makes noises when it's not even plugged in.
that it holds
That's-
residual power.
Yeah,
It'll
that's the
power
weird-
back up like I'm
that's
here.
fair.
That's the weird thing. Like it'll beep like it's turning on like when it's not plugged in, and I'm like,
shit.
what?
It's
the fuck?
It's auto updating.
It's
so weird.
It's
It's
like
like
it's waking
sentient.
up during
It's
surgery.
Skynet.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, so guys, now that I have this thing,
Mm-hmm.
what do I need to know? What are the tips and tricks of the Vita? What games do I got to get? What do I got to download?
I'm starting a
on
list.
my
I'm
baby?
starting a list because I
Okay.
know you like lists. We'll
I
start
love
building what you
lists.
need to get codes.
First, do you have PlayStation Plus?
I do have PlayStation.
Okay, so
Plus.
just download your 2 free games every month.
okay.
That
Have you been doing that already?
Library.
I have not. There are some. There are some. When I first got PlayStation Plus, whenever there was Vita games I was interested in, I think Limbo was on it at some
Yep.
point.
Yep.
I got that because I was like, one day.
Remember, everybody, if you're going to be a PlayStation Plus person, even if you only own a PS3 right now, always go on the online store, redeem the other games, so that when you get the chance, you get your PlayStation 4, you have a library of games ready.
Yeah, and now the store is
absolutely.
updated. At least on PS4, where there is a like
Add to library.
add to library list
Yeah.
because you used to have to like kind of do some weird shit to it to like get it to go, and then it wouldn't download, and you just back out. But now you can just add it to the library, which is nice. Because those guys are getting paid regardless.
Yeah, before you had to download it or initiate the download,
Right.
And that essentially added it to your library, downloaded it to your console. But now there is the add to library button where you can just click it and it adds it to the library, and you can download it later at any time.
That's definitely what you want to do.
What size memory stick we looking at right now?
Okay, I got a 16
Okay.
That's what I have.
gig
That's
in my guy. It
All
also
right.
came with
Yes,
a 4.
it's no 64.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no.
in the middle ground of 32 because
Okay.
I didn't want to import the 64.
Playing with the big boys up here. Come on.
I also have a 4. Just
Before
Fucking
just
throw that
came
away.
with-
Yeah, that's-
okay.
that's-
That sounds.
Put it in an envelope
That's garbage.
along with a letter to Shu and just say Shu. Really?
Yeah.
Tim, and send it.
I have
Okay.
Unless you want to back up like a few pictures, then you can throw them on
few
there.
really high quality.
When we
pictures.
imported it, I had the 4 gig card because I'm like, I'm not paying this, and it was just not.
You broke down
tenable.
really
It was,
quick,
like
yeah,
really
yeah.
like within weeks before it even came out in the States. I like imported another one. Like, I
Well,
can't.
okay, so that's something that sounds ridiculous to me is the price of these damn memory
Yeah, it
cards.
sucks.
Is 16 going to be enough for me at least for now?
I think so.
It depends. It's all how much do you want at your disposal. I, for
Yeah.
some reason, like seeing all I have, and now
Yeah,
it breaks
me
my heart
too.
to delete stuff because I'm deleting games that like I didn't like, and then I'm leaving games that I played a little bit of. And I'm like, maybe one day I'll get back to it,
Yeah.
and I'll never fucking get back to it. But I like
Yeah.
seeing it.
And the trouble with the Vita is that if you delete it, it also deletes your saves there, as opposed to like the PS3. The
But you can
PS4.
send them
You can
PlayStation
send-
Cloud.
Yeah, you
or
can send
them
it to the
PlayStation
cloud,
Plus
but-
Cloud.
Yeah, but they're
before.
bundled together. There's no way to like delete the game
Just
without
one-
deleting the
just
Yeah,
saves.
without the
some
saves.
bullshit.
But just delete what you know you're gonna not. You know what I
Not
mean?
give a
Send your
fuck
saves where you to if you really care about that game.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. So here's my plan now. I got a code for Shovel Knight, and on our flight to
that's a
MomoCon,
must-have.
which is I knew I needed to get this before the live show, specifically so that my plane flight to Atlanta, I can play some Shovel Knight.
Sure.
Really excited about that. I own a couple Vita games already. I just have them.
What do you got?
I got Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Sure.
which is like fun, whatever. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection.
Fuck yeah.
And Final Fantasy 10-2, which I love. I will eventually play through
do whatever,
at
yeah.
some point.
I got it. I played through it and I was like, why did I like this game? And more importantly, why did I buy it on the Vita and the PS3 since it wasn't cross-buy?
Uh-huh.
So that was a huge buyer's remorse. I was like, well, I'll like having it so I can play it in bed, and then
Yeah.
I also will want to enjoy it on the big screen, so I can at least use the cross-save functionality. And then I started playing. I was like, there are so many other better, newer games that I can be playing.
Right.
Why did
So-
I try and go back and do this nostalgic trip?
Did you not finish it?
I finished it like back on the PS2.
Okay, but you
both
didn't-
games,
10
and
years
I
ago I
finished.
finished
I finished 10 when I played through the remastered version, and I started 10-2, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna go do Dragon Age Inquisition. Or
Did you do
something
any
instead.
of the cross-play stuff?
Yeah,
though?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I did. I
'cause
Well,
I also have it on the other one.
cross-saved. Yeah, so that I could just kind of sit and relax and play it on the big screen every now and then.
That's one of those things. Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite Final Fantasies, and I do know that if I went back and played it, I don't think I'd say that anymore.
Yeah.
So that scares me because I almost don't want to do that.
Yeah,
but when I
don't know what
first
the
played
PS4 one
through,
looks like, but
when I first played through it on the PS2, I remember thinking, man, if I could play this portably and take it with me, I would still do that. Now that I can, I feel like I should. But
Okay.
yeah.
What else are you thinking?
So I have a bunch of just like PSN games that like Limbo and stuff that I've had downloaded that I never like transferred over and shit. I I missed out
40.
on a lot of last gens like arcade games and PSN games and stuff
Okay.
like that, and I love that shit. So like Limbo, I never played. Braid, which I don't think is
Braid's not on PS Vita.
well, yeah. So I missed out on a lot of that stuff. So I feel like that's where I need to kind of get in first and just kind of
Get the
those-
PSN.
check
knocking,
those off.
yeah, check those
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
Now you always talk about you missed the Crash games and all that stuff.
Yes.
What if I tried to sell you on some Sly Cooper? What about Thieves in Time? No,
Sly Cooper
no?
4 is pretty
I'm
good.
not a sly.
Really good.
I'm not a sly guy.
Okay.
No. But right after Shovel Knight on my list is Symphony of the Night.
Oh, nice.
I'm
You can
excited
get that.
about
You can. So you could download the PS1 Classic, or you can download the PSP version of Dracula X that was on PSP, and you can unlock Symphony of the Night in there, and that's probably the better deal.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, just because you get both games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the better version of the game, though?
They're pretty much indistinguishable from each other.
Okay.
I think one's emulated, and one is they're both technically
Yeah.
emulated, but one is the PS1 Master ROM, and one is built into a PSP game, but they're the same.
Get Peace Walker. Try that out.
Peace
Give it a shot. Build from the ground up.
Why is it not a good version of it? Like,
I
why is
know.
it not HD? That's so
know.
stupid.
I know.
Ugh,
I
it's
know.
upsetting.
I'm sorry.
It hurts me.
I,
Hurts me
it's,
so.
believe it or not, it's the only bad decision Konami's ever made with the Metal Gear franchise.
Oh yeah,
it's not.
Yeah,
not a big
it
deal.
was that.
What, how do you feel about Persona?
I also own Persona. That's
Okay.
another one that I do have. I think I might give that a try. That
Okay.
seems like too big of an investment for
It's
me.
a huge investment, right?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, if Final Fantasy X though, that's going to be just as big of an investment.
Yeah.
And so you can try something new.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and
true.
like I definitely look at like because I'm an old school Final Fantasy fan. 6 and 4 are my favorite games of all time, and then a couple of the PS1 versions or PS1 like 9 and 7. But like Persona now is doing what I want Square to do, and like Atlas has kind of taken over my love of like the JRPGs. So I'm super excited about 5. 4 Golden was like a near perfect
How about
game.
that dancing all night?
I've not played
fucking
some of their extra things. I did pick up Persona Q after
Yeah.
your thing with Aaron. That was and so I've started playing through that a little bit on 3DS.
What do you think?
Good.
gonna
I
get my
enjoy
Vita.
that it's a similar combat. I haven't gotten too far into
I don't
it
like
to
the
really
first
make
person.
a judgment. Yeah,
That's my
I mean
problem.
that's weird.
Okay.
The weird first person dungeon crawler aspect of it is odd, but I think
What are you getting,
if I
Cole?
if I get used to it,
Can you get mine,
I think I'll be okay with it.
please? Kevin's already got his. It's on my nightstand on the bottom shelf.
Mine's in my bag.
I hope.
If you want to grab mine too, we can just have a Vita party.
Yeah.
I'll play Freedom Wars.
And if it isn't immediately obvious, it's in my Aperture Science bag.
Mine's in my Nintendo bag.
What do you think about Helldivers?
See, Helldivers is interesting because it was really fun when we played it. But
Right.
that also seems like a game that, like, I like Colin. I am a single player guy. You know.
You're like
I
Colin.
like
I thought you said
Colin.
I like Colin.
Yeah.
It's like I like him too.
How could you not?
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, whatever. No big deal.
Okay, so this is a question
There we
I
go.
got. This
Look
is a big
who's
question
coming
I
to
got.
town, everybody.
Yep.
Mommy Kuma.
Do I need to try Danganronpa?
Yes.
Get this.
I think it's
Outta here.
it's a fun game. I haven't played much of it, but the parts I have played of it are enjoyable.
I mean, those
That I picked up on Colin's recommendation.
So, as far as Vita exclusives are concerned, Danganronpa is amongst the best, and that's just sincere. Those are really fucking good games, and they're long too. So, if you're looking for a lot of bang for your buck, each game will take 20 or 25 hours to beat. There's two of them, and they're graphic novels. They're like it's like Phoenix Wright meets
Did you like those?
Virtue's Last Reward or something. I don't know.
No, that's good. That's a good one.
It's but I got my Vita because I wanted to just go through. Well, it's a little dusty. I haven't played it in a few weeks. I wanted to go through. What do I have on here? That's Project Root. Let's see.
I'll speak up for on behalf of Zyger, Criminal Girls, so you can get nasty with.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
Don't play it in public.
Yeah, no, don't play it in public. I told him I could not play it on the plane ride over here.
Yeah.
So I and almost like everybody else I talked to that had a plane ride over here played Shovel Knight.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, I think given your freak nastiness,
Yeah.
I think Criminal Girls might be a game for you.
Yeah, we did the Let's Play of it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
So
'cause
pick
I'm
that
sick
up
fuck.
on. I picked that up because Zyger just kept Jonathan kept going on
Yeah.
and on and on about it. I was like, all right, I'll give some support.
Uh-huh.
So that was the first like recommendation I picked up, not from you guys, but from a kind of funny fan.
Awesome. Wow, that's really cool. Man, we got a whole Vita party going on. I like it.
in here. You gotta get Freedom Wars. Try Freedom Wars. Play Freedom Wars.
Yeah,
with
the
me.
Vita's
That's all
dead.
I ask.
So I'll list off a few games that I think you need to get. Helldivers obviously you should get. And Velocity 2X is another one you should get. Rogue Legacy is excellent
great,
on
great
Vita.
game.
Yeah,
You'd
that's-
love it, and that's
okay.
like a legit. Yeah.
I
If
hate
you
roguelikes, but I love Rogue Legacy.
Mutant Mudds Deluxe is really good, but you can play Mutant Mudds on 3DS. I would give a go to Hotline
you, Kevin.
Miami and Hotline Miami 2 if you've
Oh,
not played
Hotline
those.
Miami is one
That's
that
really good.
I haven't tried yet.
Let's see. Yeah, Freedom Wars is on here. Danganronpa.
Rayman Legends. If
Rayman's
you
good.
don't have that one,
Yeah, that sounds good.
Do you like adventure games? We got that Broken Age now. A lot of people
Oh
like
no,
it.
that's no.
You got the
no,
Grim
no, no.
Fandango. Get the Walking Deads.
if you like platformers, Tearaway was I appreciated its use of the Vita. It's not the best game,
Seems a
but
little
it
too
does.
gimmicky.
It's a little gimmicky, and I don't know what they're going to do with the PS4 version. But like, I played through it. I went through, enjoyed it, and platinumed it. So
Now here's
it
a
was
question for
it
you.
was a fun
You said
game.
you missed a lot of stuff in the PlayStation 3 PSN stuff.
Yes.
Did you ever play Pixel Junk Monsters?
No.
Get Monsters Ultimate HD.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think you might like. Well, do you like shooters?
First
Killzone
one?
Mercenary
No,
is
no,
probably a great game. If you're not into that, then it's not. Dragon's Crown's awesome.
Dragon's Crown.
Dragon's Crown, yeah, that was one that. I remember the
Guacamelee is
review
awesome on
looked
Vita,
great.
Yeah.
but the better ones are on PS4
That's
now.
true.
Ease Memories of Celceta is really good. Super Stardust Delta is a great launch game. Muramasa Rebirth is probably the prettiest game on Vita.
And that one's free this month, PS Plus. Yeah.
What, Muramasa?
No, what's no?
Oh,
I'm thinking
Murasaki Baby. You're thinking Murasaki
Baby's
Baby.
on
My
there. Binding of Isaac is excellent.
Race the Sun. Did you already say that?
Race the Sun, I didn't as good.
So what is Race the Sun?
Race the Sun is
a
a
racing
racing game. It's a game where like you're just in like it's almost like it looks like almost like a Wipeout type vehicle, and it's just like in kind of grayscale, and there's a sun setting in the background, and you're trying to race towards the sun so the sun doesn't set. So you're basically trying to keep the sun on the horizon, and the lower the sun gets, the less time you have, and once the sun
cool.
sets, the race is over. I actually really liked it when we went to Kentucky to do the Bourbon Trail.
That's all you played?
That's like the only game I played. It was really really good. So those are some of my recommendations. I mean, Vita's got, and that's what I'm saying. Vita's got a fucking really robust catalog of games. Like,
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve's good.
Yeah.
There's just a great catalog of games.
So even besides games, though, what do I need to know about this system? So battery life, what are we dealing with here?
Well, you have an OLED, so you're gonna get like 4 or 5 hours. Shut the Wi-Fi off if you don't need it. You'll need it to
Airplane
sync
mode,
trophies, but
yeah.
if you don't even care about that, you never need to turn Wi-Fi on. So just turn it on when you need to download games.
You can hold your PlayStation button to bring up that menu.
If you have a PS3, you can download your games on your PS3 and then transfer them to your Vita, and it's
It's the
quicker.
best fucking way to do it.
Could you do that with
No.
PS4?
Not
Nope.
yet. No.
Really?
Yep,
Nope.
stupid. You plug it's hilarious. You plug in your PlayStation 4 to your PlayStation Vita, and it goes, "This device isn't supported."
No way.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it still like that, or
that's
did they-
silly.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever.
That
patch it at
is
this point.
silly.
Otherwise, this is the mystery
what remote
port. No
plays
one knows
for.
what this is for. If you here, I'll show you. If this was
Oh, it's like the
clearly for
GameCube with
something,
its millions of random ass holes.
yeah, like there no one even knows what that is. But
Also, Sony, would it fucking kill you to like use some sort of USB to charge this
it.
motherfucker?
They did with
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, really?
Maybe you should have
Yeah,
thought that
they-
through.
they
huh?
do have
Not
that.
with
Yeah,
your
well.
proprietary dumb cord.
but yeah, I mean, otherwise, what you need to know about it, yeah, I would just keep Wi-Fi off.
No.
Ah!
Maybe
What's
even
wrong, Teddy?
maybe even keep your brightness down, and that will maximize your battery
Yeah.
power.
Okay.
I don't really have battery issues in my. This is a launched Japanese Vita, and I don't think that I've had significant issues with it. I'm having issues with the back touch now. That doesn't like I can't play Helldivers on this, because I can't reload.
So are you happy with that, or would you rather the Slim?
No, I'm totally happy with this.
Okay,
If I could if I knew that there was $90 Vita OLEDs out there,
I got so lucky. That is not just a thing.
yeah, I was gonna say like I don't want. The only reason I haven't bought this is because I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Meteor one, and I'm still somewhat convinced they're gonna make another one. Like a
I
third,
believe that
like,
too. A
like
cheaper
a
one,
third
yeah, yeah.
version of it. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
one like remove the back touchpad, and like all sorts of like a really low budge kind of one
Yeah.
to like keep them out there.
My thing about this model, the Slim, right, with the colors and everything, this is one imported from Japan when I was over in Japan, right? I bought this one mainly because I technically didn't own a Vita. I was still using the PlayStation Vita I had gotten at IGN. So it was one of those things. It was I liked the one I had. I dropped mine, if you remember the old cheese grater stairs at IGN between
yeah.
3 and 4. I dropped mine from the top of the stairs to the bottom, and it tumbled down. I got all these scratches. Worked like a charm. Never stopped working. It's a great machine.
Yeah.
But it was like when this came out, I was like, I love the color. I do like the form factor better personally, and the screen didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But that's
the screen matters to me so
the OLED
much.
I just fuck around with. It's a great model too.
Yeah. But oh man,
Teddy?
it's still not the PSP. I'll tell you that much.
No, nothing will ever be the PSP
Because
again.
last
PSP
night I was
amazing.
looking at it compared to my PSP. I'm like, good lord, this thing is a fucking beautiful piece of magic.
Unfinished Swan. That's on here now
Yeah.
too.
Kevin just beat that. He was telling
You
me,
liked it?
telling
That's
me
a
about
great.
it,
That's
yeah.
a really special game.
IGN.com described it as a hot cup of cocoa for your soul. So I'd get that.
Is Journey on Vita yet, or is that?
It's.
Is
I
it
don't know
ever
if they've
coming,
announced
or was
it
that just for
Vita.
PS4?
For
that's coming out?
PS4.
Yeah, but even that, like, what happened to that?
I played it before PS4 even came out. I think I played it on PS4. When we went to an event.
Did
at
they have it
Sony.
at PSX?
Maybe I don't know. I mean, I played it a long time ago, and I think that they just put it away for now. I don't know if there's problems with it or whatever.
Because I feel like I'd want to play that game on an airplane on a beautiful OLED screen, just
I
for the colors and all that shit.
Yeah.
I know it'd be a different experience, but like,
I think you should play it in a dark
I
room.
mean,
on
yeah,
a big TV.
it'd be more intimate maybe.
Sure.
But I appreciated having it on the big screen.
yeah, I mean, I love Journey so much, so I just want to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not. I know people think we're like, in the tank or whatever for like this kind of shit, but it's like, I think the catalog is extensive, and there's a fucking lot of games on here that are really good. We didn't name nearly all.
Exactly to the us being in the tank thing. Everyone gave a shit about being in the tank for it. Like, gives us a hard time about it until they start playing on it.
Yeah.
Once you start using the device, you'll be in the same boat of like, this is great. Why doesn't Sony support it more? Kevin, am I wrong?
No, not at all.
Thank you. You love your Vita, right?
I love it so
Yep.
much.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm gonna love it. It's like it again. This is something made for people like me. I like tech. I like gaming tech. It's just I just don't like bitch ass little buttons. That's all I'm saying.
Disney Infinity's on it now too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting for to play that.
Oh
out,
yeah,
so
I have definitely.
I got my. I
Put
haven't.
my
I,
little
haven't
Aladdin.
I got it in there. I
amiibos.
haven't used it.
I can't believe they're. I can't. That thing is gonna bomb.
Oh no, shit, yeah.
I can't believe they even did it.
Now here's the brilliance behind
Be
it is
honest.
that they pack Symbiote Suit Spider-Man in with it. You want that exclusive figure for $50 or $60, whatever the game is. It's like, if you're a huge Spider-Man fan, it might be worth it just to buy it and throw the fucking other crap away.
Yeah, could be.
Did
So
you
I hope
find
that
out
that
if you
answers
have
all your
to-
questions.
Yeah,
you have to
that's-
carry
this
that
is good.
thing
This is
with
good.
I'm pretty sure we do. It's
We'll
in the
have to do
other
a
room. I can go
check-in.
check. You want me to get it?
Yeah,
You
let's
can
do a
hook it
Vita.
up?
Let's do a Vita check-in.
Yeah, we'll have to do that
I'm
in a
not gonna be
couple.
playing it.
What's the name?
Monokuma?
Monokuma.
Monokuma.
It's also
Monokuma.
I also love that I've gotten to go back and play like PS1, PS2 games that I missed at the
That's
time.
the-
Like
I'm
Symphony of the
all
Night, I
about
got to play that. Suikoden 2 when that came out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I hopped right on that. I've played a little bit on the plane ride here. I switched between Shovel Knight and Wild Arms after Colin
Wild
sings
Arms,
its
yeah.
praises. All
Wild
the
So you
time.
got your Freedom Wars
Do
right
you
there.
like
in
it?
the
Got
home
my
screen.
Freedom Wars right
Do you
there.
like Wild Arms?
I haven't gotten far enough to probably make a good judgment, but the little bit I've played, I like the art style.
How about
and
that intro?
The theme song is so good.
I watched through that and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but this is some nice animation here.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a special game.
What
Yeah, there's-
Panopticon you repping?
I don't recall. I think San Francisco.
What level?
maybe? I don't know. I haven't played it since probably PSX.
Such a good
I,
fucking game.
I don't know if you guys remember. I'm the one that sent it into Beyond as well.
Oh, right.
That sent the extra copy of Freedom Wars that I got from Amazon because I ordered 1989 Taylor Swift, and I think they mixed
Good.
up the orders and sent me
Very
a
good.
second copy of Freedom Wars
Everyone
like a
knew
week
it
later.
was a
want this.
package.
This
It was
can't
a-
possibly. There's a guy in the warehouse being like, I don't think this is right, and they just gave you a second.
I was like, and I thought for a while I thought that they sent me that instead of the CD, and then I got the CD like a day later, and I was like, huh,
That was Taylor Swift's
okay.
a big
Yeah.
Freedom Wars fan.
Yeah,
she's,
she is.
She's repping the
definitely.
Vita,
That is
obviously, as you do.
confirmed completely. All right, guys. Second topic of the day. Let's give it to Trevor. What's your topic, dude?
So my topic is I've had this idea that I wanted to kind of bring to you guys since before I even brought up enrolled in the tier. I wanted to discuss with you guys, or you guys to discuss, if you take the kind of the three big failures of the three big companies right now, the Wii U for Nintendo, the Vita for Sony, and then the Kinect for Xbox. I kind of want to rank them and figure out the pros and
wow.
cons and what went wrong because like they're all following up huge predecessors. You know, the 360 Kinect
Sure.
was great. The Wii obviously sold 100 million units. The PSP sold 80 million units. Like what went wrong, and kind of figuring out which is the best worst of those three
Yeah.
items.
I mean,
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
360's Kinect being great.
I remember it like flying off the shelves. I
did fly
didn't
off the
have a
Oh,
360.
Okay.
Yeah, but like it sold like crazy. And I've been talking. I've brought this up with a few people here at the event, and people are like, yeah, I bought a Kinect 360, and I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Right.
No one does. That's
Exactly.
the problem.
Kinect Adventures. You get in the little fucking little.
Remember that? Remember that?
Disneyland
one?
Connect in there.
There was Disneyland Kinect, yeah.
I think the problem with all three of them is that the three companies misread the success of those three things and why they were successful. And then they tried to force an iteration of those down everyone's throats. I think that, commercially, PSP, the Vita is the most successful of those three things. Now, that's like saying one piece of shit on the market is more successful than the other piece of shit on the market. Like, the market didn't want any of these things. But I would say that Sony was most inclined to follow something up with something that was going to be successful, but they missed the boat with the Vita because, especially in their home market, no one wants this. No one's playing Vita. Now Vita's coming back in Japan pretty strong, but it's too late. You know, they play cell phone games and mobile games over there, and anyone who's been to Japan can you notice that in 2 fucking seconds. They don't, 3DSs are even pretty rare. I mean, you're seeing most of the people on trains play with their phones. So I actually just think that all 3 of them are just misreading market trends and trying to capture lightning in the bottle again.
The Kinect's the interesting one that stands out with that, I think, to me, is the fact that, I remember it selling well for 360, but everybody hating it, but everybody being like, the next one will be great. Where Kinect Xbox One got off track is when they gave in.
They bundled
when
it
they,
in.
As soon as they buckled and were like, all right, we'll take it out of the box, don't worry. Every fucking developer was like, peace out on this hardware. We don't need to. It's the same reason I think now Morpheus is going to fail, is the fact that it's not bundled in.
It doesn't come with it, yeah.
The install base is going to suck, so why would you make a game for it? And I remember the day Xbox was like, yep, we're putting out the Xbox One without the Kinect. Here's the new price point. I remember Harmonix tweeting, being like, awesome. Because they were still working on Fantasia. Is Fantasia even out yet, by the way?
Yeah, it came
Jesus
out.
fucking Christ. That game took forever, and then nobody cared because exactly what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Where I was like, I don't need my Kinect anymore. Yay. And we all disconnected until we need it for Skype. It's like, well, fuck. Why would I care about this? You know what I mean?
But it's timely because they just came out and Phil Spencer said today that he's still supporting the Kinect.
But that's what like somebody said in the chat, right? Of like,
CNG
well,
Live.
that's like Sony saying
Exactly,
they still support the Vita. Like, there's a big difference there.
Yeah, between actually doing something about it. And like that sucks though, the fact that it's not bundled in. They're not. I mean, I don't know if that sucks.
It does.
because-
I mean, for me, it's a market thing. It's a free market thing. I did not want Kinect.
Yeah.
I did not need Kinect, and I got Kinect, and I was like, all right. And then they fell away, and they take it away, and that's where Xbox in general has gotten off track. Is that they clearly had a vision for what this system was going to be. It's going to be this, exactly. It's going to be your entertainment machine, voice controls, all in one. Connect all this stuff. They came out and got hit hard from the gamers, and then Sony at E3, and they immediately started bending. They had no belief in their vision from the top down.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody saw through them, right? If they would have committed and been like, awesome, congratulations, glad Sony's going that way. This is what we're doing, and we believe in it. Different story, maybe, but like right now, I have an Xbox One out there that I love playing State of Decay on and a couple other games, right? But I play games on it, and that's it. And that's because it's a game machine. And for all intents and purposes, Xbox has also said it's a game machine. People watch Twitch on it, sure, but I watch Netflix and YouTube on all my other machines too. It's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I gotta stand up for the Wii U. I know it gets a lot of hate, but at the end of the day, to me, it is exactly what I need it to be. It has a lot of issues, and the user interface is fucking garbage and all this stuff. Personally, I love the gamepad. I love being able to play the games just on it. I think it feels right. I like that it's big. And when it comes down to it, it has the games I enjoy: Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Mario 3D World, Smash Bros. That's what I like.
Portello.
And those games are just polished, and they're as good as they need to look. Like, we don't need PS4 or Xbox One level graphics for it, because it's like, this is HD Mario and it looks amazing. Like, Mario 3D World's beautiful, Donkey Kong, beautiful, all these games. And to me, it's like, all right, these are great, but it isn't the Wii. It's in terms of success and all that stuff.
And that's what I always go back to with the Wii is the Wii, I think, is viewed as a failure, right? On the fact that I feel like it missed everyone's perception of what it was. I think Nintendo built it saying, we're going to have the same success. I'm sorry, the Wii U we're going to have the same success as the original Wii. So we'll make it this casual looking machine that does this. And this is where I always go back to them being a toy company. They think of themselves as a toy company, not pushing the limits of video games. Meanwhile, the audience is like, audience being us, the hardcore gamers, are like, now it's going to get back to what I love about Nintendo, the hardcore games and stuff. And it's somewhere in between all that, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the super casual look, but it is still a casual-ish system. And it wasn't the super hardcore thing. So it's in this weird middle ground where it's like, well, it's a failure. But it's like, did Nintendo expect Wii again? Or did they expect this Wii U thing that's more in line with GameCube? I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think, sorry, my Northeastern's calling me again to donate money because I don't owe them $70,000 already.
But that was for your world-class education.
I know, thanks, guys. Again, this is all about these companies misidentifying why their systems were successful. The Wii was wildly successful, 102 million units, I think, sold, which is an extraordinary success. Yeah. But Nintendo should have been smart enough to look at the attach rate of the Wii, which was poor. To look at the sales of some of their first-party games late in the generation, which were poor. A game like Skyward Princess, but Skyward Sword didn't sell well, considering how many and we've talked about this before. It just didn't sell that well.
I have it. I never opened it.
And
Because I'd already put my Wii away by the time my family got it for me for Christmas.
Exactly, and it's like 4 or 5 million units or whatever for Skyward Sword with 102 million Wiis, or at that point maybe 95 or 100 million Wiis. It's like, that's not going to cut it. Like, you have to you have to identify why the system was selling, and the fact of the matter is Nintendo didn't identify that Wii was selling because it was part of the zeitgeist at the time. It wasn't because it was a good console. It was because it had good games that people identified with at the time, and then they never played games again. And that is why the Wii sold. When I saw the Wii U numbers a couple weeks ago, I was floored. I couldn't believe, I knew it wasn't selling good. I couldn't believe it was that bad. 9.2 million units? I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, Dreamcast was on the market for, I think, a less amount of time and sold 1.1 million units more, and the Dreamcast is considered a huge failure.
Yeah.
You know? I think people don't want to call the Wii U what it is because it's Nintendo, and I think that it's not Nintendo's first failure. The Virtual Boy was a huge fucking bomb too. It's like you're gonna have these things, but they're between a rock and a hard place now because no one's gonna buy the console. Like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers didn't sell Wii U's. Nothing else is gonna sell Wii U's. Zelda's not gonna sell Wii U's, and obviously Splatoon and all these other games are not gonna sell. Star Fox, they're not gonna sell Wii U's. It doesn't mean that the games are bad because, like you said, the quality's high. The games are as good as they've ever been. I mean, Nintendo has a high quality polish. They don't need to patch their games. They believe in QA and a polished experience, and we all appreciate that. And other companies can learn a great deal from how Nintendo does business in that regard. But man, they really shat the bed with the Wii U, and it's obvious as the day is long. You know,
Well,
they're going to struggle to reach 12 million units, I think, and that is bad. The GameCube sold 24 million. You know what I mean? So the GameCube is a failure. You know, and it's sold more than twice as many.
Yeah,
units.
that's insane. I think the biggest problem with the Wii U is that it's still years in doesn't have the game that makes you go, oh, that's why there's this touchpad.
It's missing the killer
That's
app.
why there's, you know, that.
I feel like they did the same thing, right? Where they came and kind of pumped the brakes on it.
Yeah.
Do you think Star Fox is going to be that?
No, I
Like
don't.
that's
honestly
that seems
Star
to be
Fox,
everything I've seen says that's what they're
What's going to be
designing
its
around
Mario
that
Galaxy,
app,
right?
But that's the problem though, is it's like
It took
what
that
it's
long
gonna
to
be
get it.
is a shitty Star Fox game. Like it's going to be a Star Fox game that you're forced to do all the stuff that you don't want to do. And it's like, well, shit, could you have just given me a Star Fox game? I would have much rather that. I hope that's not true because I love Star Fox, but I think it's going to be just super gimmicky. And it's just like, here's that game that you know, this is why you got a Wii U. And it's like, okay, well.
See, I sit here and I don't have one yet, but I'm planning on getting one maybe when there's a price drop because there are a lot of games I want to play on it, but I haven't hit that tipping point where like there's enough games on there that I want to spend the still $400 on. I think 300, 3 something,
50, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Is it that
Money
much
means
still?
nothing.
Holy Christ!
yeah, 300 I think still.
Wow.
And I'm like,
That's incredible. I thought it was like 189 or something.
Because yeah, I mean, Nintendo
Just
never
giving
drops the
away.
price on anything, so like all the games are still super
Yeah.
expensive too, even if they were launch titles. So it's the kind of thing that I'm interested in it, and there are a lot of games that like I see
300, yeah.
Toad. The
Oh,
Toad
Treasure
game,
Tracker,
Treasure
yeah.
Tracker, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a great, like, interesting new game kind of thing from them. Because a lot of it, I grew up with Nintendo. I was a Nintendo boy. Then I've had every system except the Wii U, and I just like at some point I grew up and switched to PlayStation and Xbox, and those are where I go for my gaming experiences because I got tired of like nostalgia could only carry me so far.
Exactly.
When playing Mario and Zelda.
I always tell the story. When I was down, I always tell a story about, for me in high school, there was a moment I remember distinctly, like a homecoming dance or something. I ran into somebody I had gone to grade school with, or junior high, whatever you guys call it, whatever you normal people call it, who didn't go to one
Middle
school,
school.
your entire thing. And we were talking about video games and if I was still playing video games. I'm like, yeah, and I'm playing, the N64 right now, but I'm starting to worry if video games will be with me forever. Because is this all it is? And And like I loved my N64 and I loved the games I was playing on it, right? But they were cutesy and cartoony and they were like the 3D platformer kind of thing. And then I had picked up a PS1 and I found Metal Gear. And I was like, that was like my light bulb moment of like, this is the future of games in terms of them growing up, being able to tell you a story, be able to affect you emotionally, and then like, everything that it's become now and everything else. That's what was one of the main things that kept me going, right? And that's how I've always looked at Nintendo and why I talk right now. And I don't ever mean to insult them when I say they're a toy company. I don't mean it. They make awesome toys. I love playing with their toys, but I love playing with their toys twice a year, you know what I mean? With the exception now of us doing all these Let's Plays or whatever, when we're playing kart or something, you and me are going to do one-offs and stuff. But that's not like the experience that's speaking to me as the consumer to be like, well, now I need to go buy all this other stuff, blah, blah. And as a Sega kid, the Amiibos don't do anything for me either, right? So it's like, I understand why people love Nintendo, but then there's always this thing of just like, are they still producing the content you want? Like, I don't know.
And it's a testament that their games still do come out like working.
Oh,
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
none of their
God,
games
yeah.
ever come out broken. There just aren't enough of them to
Yeah.
without the third-party support.
Something you said earlier, though, about Nintendo's games is like they never drop in price because of that, though. It's because they have that quality and they're not annualized things. As much shit as people give Mario for coming out, it's like every year or whatever. It's like every year a different style of Mario game comes out. Like Mario is in a lot of different titles, but if you can't look at 2 Mario games coming out year after year and compare them and be like they're the same game.
Mario's always that Trojan horse of it, right? Where if you want to be like, Nintendo never innovates, they innovate all the time, but they just put it into the franchises you already know and have.
Yeah.
And granted, sometimes it's an awesome success, like when people loved Metroid Prime, and other times it's
a
another
capsule.
M or something.
But you know, it is what it is. But it's crazy to walk into a Best Buy and see new Super Mario Bros. On the Wii still be full price. You know, and it's just like that's because that game doesn't deteriorate in quality over time, where I feel like a lot of the other games do, because there's a new better version out, whereas like with Mario there's not a better version, there's just a different version.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, my personal take, and we've been vocal about this, I don't think there's very little right about the Wii U, and I think it's more about the hardware, and that it was clearly not ready to come out, and that they rushed it to market, obviously, and the games are great. When I play Wii U, it's great, but it's like getting it to work. It's using that fucking clumsy ass controller, and like, I'm so annoyed because I love that company. I know people think that I don't, but I do. I grew up with Nintendo. They were everything to me as a kid. I almost just want to shake someone and scream in their face and be like, "Wake up!" You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't double down on the same old thing over and over again. You guys really need to get back to basics. And the sad part is that they've done such a great job of isolating and alienating third parties that they are on a ship by themselves now. And so the Wii U is not only going to die, it's going to die a slow and painful death
alone
on the ship by itself, because
the ship's just going out to sea, no captain. It's in the cargo hold.
And that's
Viking
the really sad thing. Like they just don't do a good job of, they didn't do a good job with the online infrastructure. I remember when Wii U came out and we first got the Wii U, I was like, wow, this thing is in really bad shape. Like the operating system barely worked. It took like forever to go from menu to menu. Remember this stuff? I was I'm like, I can't believe this. And then the third party games came out, but like there was no support for them, and even games that sold well, like what was that Ubisoft launch game? Zombie U. They were going to make a sequel, and they're like, "Fuck this," and like games that were announced didn't even come out, like, or they just canceled, like Alien, when Alien was, which was a shitty game, but Colonial Marines was canceled, or whatever.
Or the games that did were remakes of games from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, like and then Mass Effect 3 and the third Mass Effect game, the second Batman game was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it was really obvious. I think a lot of people had their heads in the sand when that thing came out, where it was like, wow, like console gaming is dying and console gaming is dead, and I'm like, I don't know about that. And obviously we don't know. We know for a fact that that's not true because PS4 and Xbox One are both doing great. But I get really concerned because I think the die's cast now for this company. Like NX is going to be whatever it is. I have no idea what the hell it's going to be, and they're making cell phone games now. I don't think we're that far away from them just making games for other platforms. So it's like just wholesale, and I feel like that might be utilizing their strength, because their hardware is not working out. They make dynamite games, just fantastic games. And we talk sometimes about how Metroid, for instance, really isn't a huge seller. We like Metroid as hardcore Nintendo fans, but Metroid does not sell. That's why they don't make them. Yeah. So, when they can make a Mario Kart and sell 10 million units, they can make Metroid and sell 1.5 million units. They're going to make Mario Kart. Yeah. So but imagine if Metroid came out on Xbox One and you found a whole new audience and a powerful machine. You let the visionaries at Nintendo, the talented guys over there and girls that with the graphics and all, and they were able to utilize power. And they don't have to worry about hardware anymore. They can really just worry about making games. And that, frankly, there's already one step in that direction, or multiple steps in that direction with what they're doing with DNA now. I just am so sad with what's happening with Nintendo. It really bums me out. People focus on the financials, and that's not what's really important. Yeah, they're gonna make money. They're gonna be fine. And when these games come out on DNA, they're gonna make a fucking shit ton of money. But that's not the concern. Is this the company that we grew up with? No. Is the company ever going to be the same? I don't think so. And is their pride really getting in the way? Yes. So it's a bummer. All these companies trip up or whatever, but it hurts the most when Nintendo does it, because we need a healthy Nintendo.
What's funny in the comments,
in this hardcore industry.
What's funny and what the comments are going to call out about it is the fact that I think Xbox gave in too quickly, and we're saying Nintendo didn't give in enough. They're like, where's the middle ground, right, of answering for your crimes and changing the course? And is it, again, PlayStation? Not to fall back to us, but like that PlayStation. I always go back to that February PlayStation conference where they said all the right things. They played to their fan base. Like, we're about games. We fucked up. Sorry, the cell was so hard to develop for. Here, PC people, this is how easy it's going to be to bring your games over. Maybe that was the right way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's different for like different, just different identities with these companies, and therefore different things that they have to identify when they're making mistakes or when they're having successes. Someone there should have been like, the Wii U is not a good idea. The name's wrong. The tablet's wrong. It's underpowered. It is not ready for prime time. We should have waited to release it. They wanted to get it out before the other guys got their consoles. That was obvious. They got it out before anyone even announced anything. That's how scared they were, And I don't necessarily blame them. And also, they were dealing with a Wii that was dying very quickly. I mean, everyone forgets the Wii died like in 2010, for all intents and purposes, but was still trucking along. And you got like the Conduit 2 and all sorts of random shit, but like nothing was really coming out, and people didn't really care about it anymore. The attach rate was abysmal, and people put their Wiis away because the thing wasn't supported. And they're like, we need to get something out.
It's a Smash Bros. Box.
Yeah.
Exactly. And at the time too, 3DS was really struggling, and it wasn't clear at that time that the 3DS was really going to be what it is today, which is a great success, and it's a great machine, even though it's underpowered and a little weird. There's great games on it.
Yeah.
The great vaunted library of 3DS
Yes,
games.
of course.
And Wii U has its great games too. When I sit down and I can finally just play a game, I enjoy it, but it's difficult sometimes, I think the problems with Sony is Sony didn't identify that PSP was being bought by mostly people that wanted to homebrew with it. And they identified a thing where they were like, well, it's 80 million of them. Certainly we're going to sell at least half that many Vitas.
Yeah.
And then they made the Vita, they locked the Vita up, which is smart from a business standpoint, but they didn't identify that people weren't buying PSP for the games.
And see, that's an interesting point that you bring up a lot. I've been a lifelong gamer. I had a PSP. Never knew until you guys started talking about it here on Beyond that was well after I was into the Vita that was a that was a feature of the PSP that could be exploited.
Yeah,
jailbreaking it.
People broke the shit out of the PSP.
I don't doubt that they did. I just don't know how many people did, because I mean, essentially for me, it was my Final Fantasy device. I played like the remasters of the first couple that they did. I played the Dissidia games. I played Crisis Core, and like far more World Series of Poker than I thought I ever would. And Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics.
War of the Lions.
Yeah, that was great. But like that was what I used my PSP for. I never knew about the jailbreaking until after it was long gone. I ended up buying 2 because in the best experience and lesson I've had for like keeping my temper, when I was really frustrated when I would lose a battle in Dissidia, I would like slam my PSP on the mattress of my bed. I would just be like, ah, damn it.
Yeah.
And then eventually I overextended and hit the box spring and cracked it. And I was like, well, there's a $300 lesson to not do that again, and so I've been much more.
UMD just pops out and fucking.
It was almost split in 2. So I was like, well, damn it, but I still want to play those games. So I went and bought a second one. So maybe I'm part of the problem, even though I wasn't jailbreaking it. I ended up buying 2.
Well, that's not necessarily. You're not part of the problem. You're buying them to play actual PSP games, whereas I was buying them to fucking play Mario World.
And I think that's the thing, is that there's just two, like, certainly there were people that I bought the PSP without knowing about the homebrew, but this was a long time ago. I was in college.
Me too.
But PSP by 2009, 2010 was a joke, basically, because people were just destroying, like really just putting on old firmware and doing all sorts of fucked up things to it. Yeah. And I really do think that's why it sold so long. When it came out in 2004, 2005 in different territories or whatever, it was selling very well based on its own merits with the Grand Theft Auto games and all that kind of stuff. But
Tony
eventually, there was a lot of
portable Tony Hawk. Oh my god,
there was a lot of good games early on, but the support really did stop. Like, there are still PSP games coming out, but the support stopped to be pushing these things off the shelves. And I think that the experience in Japan's a little different because PSP is still selling there, and until recently, and they're still making big games for it. But no one was buying PSP games here, so. I again, like, just like Nintendo misidentified the success of the Wii, Sony misidentified the success of the PSP and why it was happening. So the Vita was ill-conceived. I'm glad that they did it, because the Vita is a great machine, and it's sold, I don't know, 10 million units, maybe something like that. They don't really talk about it. You have to assume it's in the 10 million unit
I feel
range.
like the last time there were a number given, it was like around 9 million. So I imagine, and that was I don't know, that was probably around PSX. So it's probably back up higher now.
Yeah, like, you have to assume it's okay, right? It's a fucking huge failure, and I'm sure they ate it when they released it or whatever, with just the R&D costs and obviously the cost of manufacture.
But if you look at the attach rate, that probably, I mean,
that's the difference.
The whole console model, console and game model follows like the the razor blade model where I got my razor blade for free when I turned 18, but I've spent hundreds of dollars on Gillette replacement blades. So that's where they're getting their money. They get the money in the games and the attachment. So even if they don't make money on the system, and I think that's why Xbox went and dropped their price, was because they can take a hit on the console if they can start getting sales moving on everything else. They can get the money back that way.
Yeah, definitely. Man, PSPHacks.com was my homepage on my browser for like 2 years. Just because every day I wanted the update of now there's this new thing where you can play these games now, and it was just so good.
I mean, you could upload things where it was you could add every NES game, every SNES game, every Genesis game. I mean, it was insane, and you didn't have to do anything other than toggle through them and then select it, and it would just appear on your screen. And it's
and you're just playing, and you can change the screen settings and all that stuff. I'll never forget replaying through Pokemon Red and Blue, and I set it so that the R button turned turbo mode on, so I could just go fast. So I'm running all fast and stuff. I'm like, this is the fucking best. Skipping through all the bullshit. PSP.
PSP was something special.
Best thing.
The PSP
PSP
was so special. I'm glad, selfishly that they misread the market, but just like I'm sure Wii U fans are glad that Nintendo did, because there's something special for them there. But I'm sure that both of those companies have a lot of regret for what they've put out into the world, and that they have to kind of deal with it. Sony's to the point now where they can start phasing Vita out, and I think they're going to soon, where they can probably be like, all right, that's time's up now. Wii U is still new enough, being a year younger, that Nintendo has to hold on for a little while longer. People that own a Wii U are going to be like, well, you abandoned this console, and why should I trust you again? And that's definitely a legitimate thing. And I don't think Nintendo's going to abandon the Wii U, but I'll be interested to see what happens with it. And then with Kinect, everyone hates on Kinect, but everyone loved it when it came out. That was the thing. It was people were really high on Kinect. I remember in the office, I was like, this is stupid, and everyone was.
You're talking about 360 or
360s.
Okay.
And then they again misread the tea leaves, where they're like, yeah, you sold it because it was fun for a minute. This is not what people want forever, And I agree with Greg, and we've talked about it before, where I'm almost a little disappointed that Microsoft reversed course, because I wanted to see what would have happened if they didn't. The vision wasn't solid enough for Don Matrick and all those guys for them to be like, well, we're going to stick with it. But what if they did? And what if they're like, no, this really is the vision, and you're really going to like it, and here's why, and we're going to give you reasons. Instead, they're like, oh no, forget it. It was all after they revealed Xbox. It was all reactionary from there. Xbox One. It was all reaction from there. It was all like, oh, we got to cut it out. We got to cut the price and blah 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 blah. And it's like no DRM and all these kinds of stuff. But I'm like, what were the strengths of it? Why did you do it to begin with? Why can't you articulate that message? It was disappointing, because I really thought that there was going to be two different horses in the race.
That would have been an exciting race to watch, right? Whereas now it's like, okay, we're back to the boxes being pretty much the same. They do pretty much the same thing. And do you like trophies? Do you like achievements? Where's everybody playing? Great.
But your second horse in the race then is Wii U.
That's true.
That horse is limping.
It's just a lame horse.
The guy with the shotgun is catching
Going
up.
the wrong way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, before we move on, we are sponsored this week by Topps Cards. Star Wars Card Traders, the official Star Wars digital trading card app, available now exclusively on the App Store and Google Play. So you can open, trade, and collect cards entirely online. You don't need to deal with any open up booster packs and doing all that stuff. It's really
Takes
cool.
me back.
Yeah, because
right.
they got
Smell.
remember the OG Star Wars cards,
The
the
customizable
Topps
card
ones.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the Topps collectible ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get all the OG ones from the original Star Wars movies.
Nice.
They're coming out with the new Episode 7 ones. So this is it's pretty cool. You can have them all digitally, and they have a bunch of cool special functions and stuff too. If you want, you can go over to topps.com/kindafunny, and you can get started collecting today. And that's Topps TOPPS.com/kindafunny.
You get an exclusive Watto card.
You do not get an exclusive.
Caption.
Nope. Yeah. Not yet. We'll have to talk to them about that. But you can get 5 or more free packs per day.
Ah, damn.
For a limited time only. So definitely check that out. You can get the first cards from Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and it's gonna be great. So definitely check that out. Now, topic 3, guys, comes from Patreon. Our good friend Kenny Char.
Kenny Char, one of the best patrons.
Yeah, definitely a good dude. What makes good box art? Colin has brought up a few of what he thinks are bad examples of box art, Resistance 3, Evolve, etc. But I don't think you've mentioned which ones you guys really like. Thanks. And kinda.
Funny!
We're making it a thing, he says.
So, Colin, why is this bad?
I mean, this is great. I mean, this is Ali Moss, a very talented artist.
Amazing art.
But this isn't something you walk into a store. I mean, I said this when Resistance 3 came out, which is one of my favorite games on PS3. It's just what is it? What does this tell you about the game? Nothing. It tells you nothing. It's a silhouette of New York City and a chimera skull.
if you look closely enough to see that it's a silhouette of.
Yeah,
New
I
York
never
City.
noticed
I've
that.
looked at it for like all of these Gamecasts and never saw that
Yeah,
until you
that's
pointed
hilarious.
it out.
So I mean, it's not, and there's obviously the Statue of Liberty in there and the Empire State Building, but
All right, now I just look stupid for
But-
not noticing.
No,
that.
yeah, I'm with you though.
Thanks.
That's
but
definite.
I came out originally and I'm like, why wouldn't they put Capelli on the cover? Like I think a good box art, unfortunately, is not the same as compelling art or something you want to hang in your studio or something like
Yeah.
that. Which is this. I mean, I love that we have this here, but nope, higher, no. Oh my God, just put it down.
There's the garbage truck.
But it's
I
something.
got it.
It's something.
You can come on camera. I forgot.
But it's something that
Kevin
makes
Coyle, everybody.
it's
Heart
good
and
box
soul
art
of
is something that
Ghostbusters.
makes you want to pick up the game. That makes Joe
This is your
Schmo
fault, Kevin. That's
and his
your fault.
girlfriend or whatever, or his girlfriend or his boy, whoever.
Yeah.
Go into a store and be like, "This looks like a good game." That tells you nothing about Resistance. You know what I mean? Nothing at all. Kevin,
God damn it,
We're
Kevin.
finally capturing Kevin's.
This is all your fault. Facebook told me to blame something on you. They were right.
They'll
They
be
knew I
happy
wouldn't
about
need
this.
an excuse.
box
mean-
art just has to be compelling. It's the same thing as like,
Yeah.
what is a good movie poster?
I
What
mean,
is
it
a good,
needs a white dude. He needs to be holding a gun, maybe over his shoulder.
And this is the
and a
thing.
logo above
These
it.
days now he's walking away from us.
True,
Everyone
true.
gives all that shit, but that's like market research.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why those
No.
games sell well and Resistance doesn't. You know what I mean? Like they're not. It sucks that there has to be boil it down to the mainstream and give them that cover.
Yeah.
But you do it
But, I
and
mean,
you
it's
see success.
Thumbnails on YouTube videos. It's like
Yeah.
you need to do that stuff to like get people in, and it's like the content will be there. The game is there. Like the box art doesn't affect the quality of the game. What I really like when people do is they have the reversible
Yeah.
box
And
art.
that
where
was
it's
one
like
of them.
the super artsy one on the inside for the hardcore motherfuckers,
Right.
and then just the other side to sell it. And it's like that's just it is what it is. But thinking about like what games do have good box art, I think Grand Theft Auto is a really good example.
Yeah, there's a
because
lot of cool
yeah.
colors. Pop,
a lot of pop,
pretty
a
girl.
lot of stuff. There's always the girl. There's like the things that
That's
keep
a really
you
good
interested,
example. Yeah.
and it's like they have a feeling too. It's like when you look at it, you know it's Grand Theft Auto, and they just kind of like nailed it with
Yeah.
that. I can't really think of too many other great examples. Like
Oh,
ones
really?
that come to mind for me, like Left 4 Dead, I think is very powerful because it's very simple, but it's like you know what it is, and it's also clever with the
hand.
hand
Yeah.
or whatever.
I mean,
then-
like it's some. I think there's a tendency to overcomplicate things, if that makes sense. And I'm going to use licensed examples, but I think they stand right. Like when one of the coolest magazine covers, and this is again because I'm a fan, but I just think a cool fucking magazine cover was Game Informer's reveal of the Ghostbusters PS3 360 PC game. That was just a black cover with the logo right
Yeah.
center. I was like, that is so fucking hot because that's a logo that speaks. You don't need to know anything else. I thought that that would be the box art, and instead they gave like the one of them, and it's just like, why did you even bother doing that? Everyone knows what Ghostbusters is. Meanwhile, I think like GoldenEye, right? Like it's just fucking Pierce Brosnan right there. And you're already like, well, fuck, that's cool. The wrestling games usually, right? Like you think like Here Comes the Pain with Brock Lesnar flexing
Yeah.
and the SmackDown logo and all the shit happening, or even like we were talking about No Mercy. No Mercy has everything on there you want as well. Like not being afraid to just say this is what we are. It's when people
Yeah.
try to get cute that things get weird.
I think a good example of just the super simple but fucking sells it. Like Ghostbusters, that's interesting because it's the logo, so I feel like it's almost cheating. But Sonic and Knuckles is just the fucking coolest thing. Like I remember that box art. It's just the simple, like, do you remember what I'm talking about? Where it's like the oval and it's both of their heads kind of together. And
Yeah.
it's just like, holy shit, that's so cool. Being in the 90s, if you look at that, you're not like, I want that right now. You're not a real person or you're blind. It's one of the two.
Whoa.
What do you think of like the Kingdom Hearts ones? As I know you're a
Oh.
fan of those, you got all the pretty
Man.
much all the characters kind of like piled up on top of each other.
I think
that
the,
stands out.
The Kingdom Hearts ones are a perfect melding of the artsy style with the selling style because it is very artsy and it's pretty looking and all that, but it has the Disney characters and it's obvious of what it is. It is also shiny.
Yeah.
Here's what I
and
want.
like Pokemon,
Like-
like you get the legendaries on
Yeah,
up
exactly.
front, right
It's
up
like,
front,
you
and
want
that's
that.
I want your
tells you what you
permission
want
for
about those
something,
games.
Tim.
Yes.
This is a very visual episode.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go out there and grab a handful of PS3 games
Okay.
and bring them back in. I want to, and we can go through and critique them. How's
Okay.
that sound?
Yeah,
All right,
I like
I'm
that.
right back.
I like that a lot. It'll be good. Sorry for the audio listeners.
People have to
explain what
people
it
have to
is.
remember that for older gamers that, or I guess younger gamers that didn't know this, is that we grew up in a time where it was very healthy to be skeptical of box art, and good box art was
Mega Man.
yeah, like think about Mega Man or Mega Man 2's or Mega Man 3's box art, like fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
Awful box art. Just all of it awful. Until 4, 5, and 6. And 6 obviously nailed it, and 5 was pretty good too. but it didn't matter. Those games were really good. The box art actually betrayed the game that was inside of the box. Meanwhile, you had games like Deadly Towers or Wizards and Warriors. Deadly Towers actually is a great example, or Athena, games that fucking suck. That had a great box art.
Baller.
Deadly Towers is like one of the great pieces of box art ever. A broader bun game on NES, and that game's awful. So like, there's a lot of skepticism about box art, like about judging what's inside the game and or inside the cartridge or on the CD or whatever. And so I understand that level of skepticism, but box art really has to pop for people that don't know about games. That was why I was so surprised by Evolve's box art. I thought Evolve's box art was fucking bad. Like I remember like when they released it, I'm like, that's really bad.
And it's funny because we say that, right? And it's similar to what Left 4 Dead, and it's the same studio, right? In terms of just like Evolve is the paw print or whatever the hell you want to call it, and the hand for the zombie game. But the hand is stronger. It feels like it's
a zombie.
Exactly.
You know?
You can wrap your head around it, I think, quicker than you can. What the hell does this footprint do for Evolve? All right.
Yeah.
So here comes the random game. I grabbed the D's because Tim wants the D.
Oh, I'm all about that D.
Number 1, Diablo 3. What do we think of this? It's an eye. Got some fire going on.
You know, I think it's good because Diablo, the title itself, it kind of tells you what it is.
Sure.
You know, I feel like it sells it because of.
Is
what
this
it
one of those
already.
games you think that doesn't even need to worry about it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. But in addition to that, it's like, what else are they going to show? You know,
Yeah.
I feel like this is a perfect example. It's like, even if you don't know what Diablo is at all, you look at this and you're like, okay, Diablo, it's evil.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
This looks evil.
You got some hell colors there.
Yeah.
Trevor, you like it or
Yeah,
not?
it's-
Yay
it's-
or nay?
So
I'm gonna nay
I
it.
actually
I don't like it.
actually like the because I have the PS4 Diablo,
Yeah.
which is much more blue in its box art, and that jumps out more at me because I think the red there is like too cliche.
Colin? Any
No, I like it. I mean, my problem with this is the same as The Witcher, which is that it's not obvious that it said 3. You know,
good point.
so like I think normal Joe Schmo walks up then and says, "Oh, Diablo."
Yeah.
This
They have
this
no
from the
idea
guy that
that's Diablo.
sees New York City and
Yeah.
Resistance.
Exactly.
It's fair.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next up in the D category. Demon Souls.
Demon Souls is good. The logo's terrible.
I think the
Yeah.
whole. I don't think the whole. I think the whole art looks crappy.
It looks like a bad Photoshop.
exactly. It
Yeah.
looks like something Tim would make.
Yeah. I'm really not good at Photoshop.
Plus, you still got the
To be fair.
Spider-Man PS3.
Hey, Spider-Man,
Hey,
I'm
Spider.
borrowing your font for my PlayStation 3, okay? I'm old school gamer guy. Unopened. Def Jam Rap Star.
Horrible.
I think I think this pie box art does the trick.
Yeah,
I mean, it does the
that
trick,
tells
but
you
it's
what
like-
you're getting.
But they should have had a actual
Rapper?
rapper. I
Yeah.
think that would have helped.
But then you get into licensing, and is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it is for Def Jam.
Next up, Dead Space 3.
Yeah, that's good box
I
art.
mean, yeah,
That's a good box art.
that's the market tested.
The white pops, the guys
Space
there.
Marine
I mean, I don't know
guy.
what I'm getting, but I know it looks cool, and there's a guy with a
Yeah,
gun.
it's cool.
His name's Isaac
You
a
can
Clarke.
lot of
assume
a
he's
lot of
white.
what Dead Space on that cover too.
Next up, Dead Space.
No bad. And this is one of the problems. Dead Space is a fucking fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
like
throwing-
this is like one of those things where I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
that's what you came up with for Dead Space? You don't show the Ishimura or Isaac Clarke or
Yeah,
anything like that?
I mean, look at what they've like learned, if you will, quote unquote, from EA. Is they've like,
Yeah.
you know, as you've iterated here with Dead Space 3 next to Dead Space. Like this one is obviously already more compelling with the dude, the gun. I know he's a badass. Here it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking
quite
at.
handy.
The hand is not going to get my grandmother who's walking down the aisle to be like, "Oh, Trevor likes
Oh,
games.
Trevor,
I'm going to go
you
get
would
him
love this
one."
game.
And again, that's the thing I think that's most relevant and salient when you think about it is like it's not about what attracts us because we're
Yeah.
gamers.
'Cause
We're
we know.
aware
We're-
already. We've seen the videos, we've seen the screenshots, we run the
Yeah.
review. Like what is going to catch the eye of the guy in the store that never heard of the game? And I still think that the most effective box art is Def Jam that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
In terms of like, oh, like some
bright.
guy's gonna see and be like, oh,
Final one I'll toss at you from the D collection, Dead Rising 2.
I mean, yeah, that's great.
it's good.
Right? I mean,
Got
there's certain
zombies, got
things
some
that are
action,
kinda
got some
weird.
crazy stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, still don't. I mean, I like it, but I still don't understand why they're giving Mega Man Legends so much love on this particular box art. But yeah, I
Poppy
mean,
colors.
It works. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Also in the D's, I don't know if you have them there, but like talking about the Resistance one of the things I really appreciate in that I didn't notice like when I was first looking at them, but like the Dragon Age ones, like especially 2 and Inquisition, I don't remember. The first one has it too, where it plays with that like what's in the negative space image, which is very cool as somebody that like studied the arts. I can appreciate that, but I don't know like it's so subtle that I didn't notice it right up front. So
Yeah.
I don't know if the person who's walking down
It's like the FedEx trick.
down the aisle is going to catch it either.
Yeah, I think the fundamental thing with box art is just identify like what we're talking about, what makes it good. Well, Ollie Moss's Resistance 3 box art is amongst the best box art ever made in terms of an artistic appeal.
Sure,
Like I love
sure.
it, and I'm a huge Resistance fan. I like the Chimera, and I'm from New York, so I like that kind of art. But that's not what we mean? You know what I mean? We're not identifying the artistic merit of it. We're identifying like what makes sense for this box art. And for
What
Resistance
thumbnail
3,
will get the most clicks?
Exactly.
Really what it comes down
exactly.
to.
I mean, unfortunately, that's true. And like Resistance 3 didn't sell, even though it was the best Resistance game by a fucking mile. And I don't think that box art helped. I think that box art hurt it. I think that box art absolutely hurt that game, and that was really unfortunate. I like it, but I already knew I knew what Resistance 3 was from the fucking second they announced it.
Yeah.
Like what would have sold more copies of that game is if Capelli was on the cover with a gun, unfortunately, shooting a Chimera in the head. Yeah. That's why Resistance 2 sold so well. Resistance 2, for all the shit it gets, had a good cover. And
his yellow eyes.
And I think it matters. Unfortunately, it just matters. But I understand the skepticism because if you come from especially the Atari 2600 and NES days, but even SNES and Genesis and Saturn, but then there are iconic. There's like
I mean,
Final
Super Mario
Fantasy
3 or something like that. Like that, I remember that box art.
Yeah, it was
later.
yellow and it popped, and
Poppy
like you
colors,
saw
man.
that raccoon Mario
Super
right there on the
Metroid,
front.
I think, is a
Super
great one in
Metroid's a
terms
great
of
one.
just you see that and you're like, this looks fucking cool. You see Ridley super big and like Samus with the gun. It's like you don't need to know what that is. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it's important. There's to Trevor's point, like there is a lot of especially to places like EA, a lot of market research into like what I'm sure they made 50 fucking Dead Space 3 covers, and they're all then they put them in a shelf and brought people in and were like what pops, and that Dead Space 3 art is awesome, but yeah, I mean I understand the skepticism. I always think one of the most iconic covers to me still is Final Fantasy 7, and I think that Midgar's in there and Cloud with his with the Buster Sword and. It matters. It really does matter. I know that what's inside the and what's inside the case doesn't matter to some people when they're making the art. Ollie Moss probably cared more about what that looked like than what the game was. But what really matters is what's on the disc or on the card.
And that was an interesting departure because like if you think of the box art from Final Fantasy 2 and 3 here in the States, it was just like Final
logo.
Fantasy 2 was the red with the logo on it, and Final Fantasy 3 was the purple with the logo on it. But the instruction booklet art was phenomenal, and so Final Fantasy 7 was the time that they like said, oh hey, let's put this out on the front and see how that responds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that and obviously it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very cynical. It's a cynical conversation to have because I would love all art to look more like that, a little more symbolic, a little more artistic, but that's not what's selling games. Unfortunately, and I do think I like Ollie Moss. I think that the art's great, and people are using him in other gaming endeavors for sure. After that, but that art hurt Resistance 3, and I think everyone knows that. Just like that commercial hurt Resistance 3. The commercial for Resistance 3 was another bad thing. So it was just like that. Everyone thought you had to have a PlayStation Move to play the game because they were more interested in advertising Move than they were advertising the game. So there's little things that you have to think about like that and it's not going to matter in a few years when everything goes digital. But in the meantime, people are buying their games in stores, and so it matters very much.
Kevin Butler.
R.I.P. So, final topic for today, guys, as always, comes from the audience. A bunch of different questions. If you want us to answer your questions, go to the Kind of Funny forums at kindoffunny.com/forums and leave them in there. There'll be a thread that says, what are your Gamecast topics?
Or support us
And
on
I'll read them all.
Patreon.
Or do that too. Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Are you
can
still going to tweet out? Because I told somebody yesterday who was asking, how do I get my question on the show? I was like, I'm pretty sure Tim usually tweets everything out.
I usually do.
Did not
Probably
today?
going to stop doing that. I didn't do it today. But you know what?
Well, now I feel like a dick to that
No,
guy.
but
I'm
hey,
sorry if that was you that I
dude,
told that.
This
If
was a
you're
time-sensitive
listening,
one.
tweet at me. We'll still do it. It'll be great. First question comes
Hey,
from
I'm the dude.
JohnMin33.
Jamin.
What do you think will be the biggest announcement at E3?
The biggest, like the most
Fallout
important, is
4.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think will be the biggest.
The completely wild prediction that I came up with like yesterday or Sunday on the park. I was telling somebody, I was like, how crazy would it be if like something like Hearthstone came to consoles and handhelds? Like obviously Blizzard doesn't have a presence typically at E3, but like if that showed up in a conference, that'd
That'd
be
be awesome.
insane.
Yeah.
They already have the relationship with PlayStation.
And I've
Well, I
tweeted
guess
at Geo to get Hearthstone on
Good
the
job.
video.
Hashtag building list.
Yep, did that.
You think Fallout?
The problem is if there's going to be something bigger than Fallout, it's going to be out of left field. It's going to be something you weren't expecting, like a new
Jet Moto.
a new Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Jet Moto, sure. The NX is out tomorrow, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It'd have to be fucking something we weren't expecting. If you're expecting it, it doesn't really count, right?
Well, I mean, we expect Fallout.
And that's why we expect it to be the biggest.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
like apart from that, I mean, do like the Gears remaster? Do we think that'll be all of them, or the Uncharted remaster? Do we think that'll actually happen?
I think the Gears one, unless Black Tusk is just straight up lying, I think it's just the first game.
Yeah, which I don't.
Uncharted.
Like that's like the God of War 3 one. I'm like, that. Why does that make sense?
Yeah, the God of War 3 thing's just annoying. Because I really don't get that at all. I really don't get it. That game's already beautiful. You don't need to bring it to PS4.
Yeah, but now it's 60 frames per second.
But it's the install
and they are
base.
giving. I mean, if you pre-order it, you can get the PlayStation Now rentals of the first two games.
Don't forget
as
that
well.
Magma Red
Magma Red.
DualShock 4
yeah,
controller.
it'll come eventually.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is going to be the
Serious
winner of
time.
that
Hashtag serious
conversation, I think. But I think that you'll see other things. I think Uncharted Trilogy is a no-brainer. I'd be really shocked if they don't do that. And maybe they won't announce it here, but that's got to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. You want to gear people up for Uncharted 4, and I get that. A lot of people didn't have PS3. But I think that I think we're going to see a lot of things like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mass Effect Trilogy. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Fallout 3 in New Vegas or Skyrim on the next gen console. So I think you're going to see more of that kind of compilation shit, which annoys me a little bit. I'd like to see better, newer games, and I'm sure we'll see those too. The problem is that there's everything's split up so much between PSX and Star Wars Celebration and all these things where you have to save announcements. Where like you would expect that maybe EA would come out in a normal year and be like, this is what Amy Hennig's working on, and this is what the Star Wars game looks like, and this is when it's coming out. But you don't know, like now that there's like all these other considerations, you don't know like what they're gonna have to keep under their hat. There's just too many fucking shows, and that's why Sony's just straight up like, we're not going to Gamescom. You know,
when do you think they'll show Amy Hennig's game? Like I mean,
makes
Celebration
sense.
was a great experience, and you got to see Battlefront there for the first
Right.
time. So I think that kind of paved the way and cleared out the room. So you might see that Star Wars game.
I don't know. It might be a little too early. You have to assume she went there.
Yeah, but
and
they
she-
gave us the presentation docs was that last year's E3 where they just kind of were like, these are all the games we're working on, and here's the design documentation.
I
Yeah,
think
I
this
mean,
year
I
will
don't
be
know,
different because
yeah.
they have things to show, though.
Yeah.
That year, their hands was forced. They're like,
Right.
we have nothing really fucking to
Forced.
promote. So we got to show you what's happening.
Yeah, and we already know that they're Mirror's Edge, for instance, and all these games. So I mean, they're gonna show things like that. It might be a little too soon for Amy Hennig's game, but yeah, I think Fallout 4 is the obvious. That's the game that's going to be huge.
Mhm.
The other thing that I can think about is if Nintendo really was, and I think probably is making a 3D Mario game.
I don't know,
and I
man.
think but I think it's probably being shifted off of Wii U, and
Yeah.
that would be the smart move. I don't know if they're going to do that.
I'm really interested to see what Nintendo does at E3 because I don't know. They're in such a weird place right now where it's like, okay, they got Splatoon coming out now or whatever, and Smash Bros is already out. Maybe they announced more DLC for that, but then what?
The voted on
there's-
playable character.
Yeah,
Drop bones.
there's Star Fox, and like that'll be cool to all of us that care. But what is next? Are they going to talk about the NX at all? That'd be
They've already said they're not talking about NX the rest of this year.
yeah. So it's like okay, cool. So
Yeah,
then what are
presumably
you talking about?
DNA
Zelda?
probably.
Just Zelda. But didn't they say they're not talking about Zelda?
I don't think they're talking
They
about.
said Zelda's not going to be there.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
like
they'll probably
I mean,
talk about it.
they're not going to be there, so they could still do a direct on
that's
it.
true. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely going to mention Zelda,
Yeah.
but
they
It'll be
have a
Star
booth
Fox
this
and Mario Maker probably be the big.
I don't
Mario. It's crazy.
I
It's
mean,
like
in
fucking
terms
Mario
of
Maker
conference,
again.
They're not going to be there.
Like, are we really going to get another E3 focusing on Mario Maker?
They have nothing else to say. I
that's
mean,
insane.
Nintendo, they're losing. Like it's just like they have to recalibrate. I mean, I couldn't believe last year when they weren't gonna have a presence like an E3 like conference. I was like, I can't believe this.
They're just going to announce
I think
100
that's
new
all fine,
amiibos.
though.
I don't
Amiibo.
think that's all fine. I mean,
Sorry.
clearly it's not. So
Mm-hmm.
like the company is definitely evolving and changing, and I wonder. I'll be interested to see what they have to say. I really hope that they have some aces, some trump cards up their sleeve that they're going to be able to play because they need them. They really need them.
I'm really interested to see what they do with Mario specifically. I wonder if there will be a 3D like Galaxy sequel or whatever with it, or if they really just do HD remasters of Galaxy 1 and 2, or
I'd play them.
I mean,
if they
you
make
got
another
Mario
3D
Maker.
bland world.
Or
Whatever.
like maybe they just show off a ton of Mario Maker levels.
And that's what we were saying. Like
I
that
hope
would be
that's not
that
it,
was
yeah.
like last year's E3. Like I'm really excited about Mario Maker.
gonna
I
be
think that
great.
game's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But and I think that's a great reason to play Wii U.
Mhm.
But yeah, hopefully they don't focus on that again. I think Star Fox will probably be the marquee game.
But that excites me though. The fact that Star Fox might be their fucking game. I'm like, yes.
It's a good
Give me
sign
that.
and it's a bad sign.
Yeah, very true. Evan Cronus wants to know, if you created a game, what would be the most important to you? Story, gameplay, or presentation?
Gameplay.
Gameplay,
Yeah.
all day.
I mean, I love story, but yeah, if it's a slog to play through it,
Exactly.
I'll read a book.
That's true. I mean, I feel like gameplay is the right answer, but like I think presentation definitely deserves a shout out there because it's like that's the difference between an amazing game and a good game. Like if the gameplay is good enough, but the presentation is immaculate, I feel like that makes it a very special experience.
Yeah, but I mean, like Tetris, the gameplay is
The gameplay is yeah,
and
is-
that's
for
from,
sure
from
for
the
sure.
list this morning. That's what the #1 selling game is.
Yeah.
But then what the counterbalance to that's what Gone Home,
Mm-hmm.
where the gameplay isn't really it, right? You're playing through for the story.
Yeah, and that's certainly, I mean, it's a great
And
another
that's
piece, but
debatable too. Is it story or presentation?
Sure.
You know. So Jack Daniels 524.
Jack Daniels.
Daniels. Why is the gaming market the only market to deal with delays? Movies and music just get released on time.
Bullshit. What
Why
is
is
he talking
this?
about?
That's not true.
Yeah,
Throw
that's
this
just
question
not
out.
true.
That's not true at all. That's a weird question. There have been albums that have been delayed by years.
Yeah.
and movies that
Batman v
Superman.
Superman got delayed.
yeah, and movies that are delayed too. So
Yeah, that definitely happens. I think that
Yeah.
we face gaming and gaming delays, and that's such a prominent thing in our industry because games take so many years to make, and so many people are involved and work on them and all that. Whereas movies take years to make, but movies turnaround times, I'd say, average 2.5 years, and that's one of those things where there's so many people working on that, but you can kind of have a guess of when it's going to be finished. There's like an order to it all. Video games, there's so much Q&A testing. There's so much
Yeah.
like things, stress tests, and all the stuff that it needs to go through that things happen and things change and everything changes. Whereas movies, it's like it's going to end up in the theater and it's going to show. We know it needs to be edited. It needs to be shot.
Yeah.
Like there's order.
But I mean, even with movies, you have a starting point. You have people that you're shooting, whereas a game you have to build from the ground up.
Yeah, that's true. And you have to, I mean, it's,
And you don't necessarily know how long that's going to take.
yeah. And I think that a lot of it, the business, it's just the way that the industry does business. It's like there is the E3s where things are announced and there's a pressure to announce things. So I feel like, I mean, movies have that too, and there's Comic-Con and all that, but I feel like gaming has a very unique system with E3 specifically, where there is a pressure to announce bigger things than the other guys announcing, even if you're not ready to announce it, which means people think that games are being delayed. I would be willing to bet that for the people out there listening, if you're upset about a game that you love being delayed, it probably never was actually delayed. You just heard about it and assumed it was going to come out.
Right.
It
Nobody
didn't.
ever confirmed or denied if it was this year. And then
Yeah.
they finally say it's spring of 2016. Like,
Oh, it's delayed.
delayed.
It's like, no.
Well, Witcher was delayed.
There are
A few
games that
times.
do get delayed.
Exactly.
You know, like
games
there-
get delayed all the time.
Yeah, it does happen. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's a bad stigma with delays that you're just misusing words.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
somebody hears
but-
spring and thinks,
Oh, it's-
early next year, when spring technically doesn't happen until like end of March.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're more cognizant of it, but movie, like Greg said, movies get delayed, and when you listen to bands give interviews, albums always get delayed. Like it's always happening. Like bands will be in the winter, be like, oh, our album's gonna be out next summer, and it doesn't come out for another year after that.
Yep.
Like it always happens because it's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like delays are almost always good. They're almost always a good thing. That's what I've been trying to. Would I want one of my favorite bands to rush their album out and it's fucking half-ass mastered and the sound's a little off and they're not happy with these songs or they need a little bit more time to write and stuff like that? I'd rather have the album that they want. Same thing with games. If they, the guys at CD Projekt Red needed more time, they got more time. And
Here we are.
and the game's awesome. So, and I always use this as an example. Naughty Dog says that the difference between The Last of Us being okay and great was like literally 6 weeks.
Mhm.
So like they literally needed 6 weeks to like finish the game. And everyone forgets that game was delayed and we are better off for it. It's one of the great games of all time. So just be patient, but it might be endemic or an epidemic, I should say, in the gaming industry, but it's not exclusive to the gaming industry by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. Daniel Salas, with smartphones around, will handheld consoles die out?
Yes,
I think eventually.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or do the handhelds try and partner with the cell phones?
I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like, I think on a hardware perspective,
Yeah.
they'll be gone. But yeah, Nintendo will make the stuff. Will Sony ever make?
I mean, Sony has.
They already
like,
did.
They have
Sony Mobile
phones.
already have it. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Then
Yeah, I mean,
that's just gone.
it sucks, but I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing we were talking about with, Nintendo still doing really pretty well with the 3DS because they have a younger market, maybe that doesn't have phones or not as engaged with their phones and they play, they want to play Pokemon and all those kinds of things. I'll be interested to see what that market looks like after DNA starts releasing games
Yeah.
because once you can get your Nintendo fix on iOS, whether the games are good or bad, I have no idea. If they're going to be like Mario Endless Runners or you're going to get a real Pokemon game, I don't fucking know, but probably not. I wouldn't get
I
hopes
know,
up.
but my lord, that's be so fucking good.
I'll
But the
be int-
NX is the interesting thing.
You-
on-
Yeah, I'll be interested to see like what that all looks like. Vita's a clear sign. another sign that handheld gaming is just a very small niche, and it's like we were talking about with I don't know when we were talking about this on Colin McGregor or maybe on this show, where it's like the fact of the matter is that these bigger companies, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, they're not happy making just a little bit of money. That's not worth it for them. They'd rather not make a product at all if it's going to make them a little bit of money.
Yeah.
They need to make money. They have shareholders and they need to reinvest this money. So if in a shrinking market like handhelds, does it make sense for these companies to make these products anymore? Clearly not.
Yeah.
So I think that certainly Sony, well, I've said Sony is the company that's crazy enough to make another handheld, and I think that I still think there's a chance they would. They're not going to. And Nintendo, the NX might be their hybrid or their phone or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. But yeah, the handheld gaming's dying.
The only world you can see where Sony's like, we're going to make another handheld, right, is if they're like, we're going to do what with, we'll say Vita 2, what we did with PlayStation 4, where we have the conference and we're like, hey, everybody, we heard you. We put 2 triggers on it. We removed all the touch functionality, and somehow somehow every game on PlayStation 4 is cross-buy, cross-play. And I know that's impossible, but you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, that's the kind of move they need. Sorry?
You're forgetting one.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, we know we fucked up by not having Crash Bandicoot. So here's Brash Bandicoot.
Yep.
He's a new character we made.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if they
Fuck
made
you,
Brash
Activision. We got Brash Candipoot.
See, to that point, I would be because I'm very curious as to what like a PlayStation experience looks like without the handheld in the ecosystem.
Right.
Because that was a huge component of
because they finally had their audience in a barrel, right?
And now that the PlayStation is the PS3's fading away, what if they continue doing that? What will it can't just be a bunch of PS4 stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, I think, last week, where I was like, I'm interested to see what kind of FaceTime Vita gets at E3.
Nothing.
If they don't say anything about Vita, then you know that the die is cast for that.
This is the whole thing, though, is
over.
what does nothing mean? Because they'll have games out there like, this is going to be cross-buy, cross-play day one with Vita. That's going to be it. There will be games announced that are shown for this. There'll be a sizzle reel that'll have some fucking stupid-ass shit we'll rewind. It's like, was that Patapon? I don't know.
Or what if that the Vita with double triggers is an E3 announcement?
Mind blown. That'd be awesome.
Does that supplant Fallout 4?
I mean, that would have the possibility, right? But I mean,
they're not going down.
The whole thing, exactly. The whole thing would have
Crash
to change.
Bandicoot.
Crazy.
I'm calling it out. Crash Bandicoot or fucking Brash
They'd have to
Candipoot.
come out and be like, hey, everybody, we've redesigned the Vita again, given it 2 triggers for remote play. Memory cards are getting knocked in half on terms of price, and also Brash Candipoot. He comes out. He's got blue fur and orange shorts. He's Codex fucking screaming off stage.
New developer Dotty Nog.
All right.
Attaboy's just flipping off Activision as he walks away.
Fred Asparagus. Why do some games not allow you to pause? For example, Bloodborne. How do you think it would give me an edge? How?
Yeah, that shit's annoying to me too. But the idea that that world's designed for people to jump in and out, even if you don't want that to happen or if you turn that functionality off. So I think that's just their baseline.
Yeah.
It annoys the shit out of me too. Like in a game like that, you have to just find a safe
Corner,
like a nook, and just walk away. Like I hate that shit too. Like there's a few things I've said before in the past, like if I were to design a game that just seemed like no-brainers to me, that's one of them, right? Just pause the game. Like what's the big deal? And the other thing is like button mapping. Like just map whatever you want. I don't care what you want to do. I hate when people are like, this is the way the game's played.
This is our control scheme.
This is our control scheme. This is the way it's going to feel. I'm like, why? Why can't I just map it?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's to give players some choices. Yeah, that's a great point though. It's annoying as shit when you can't pause the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, to that point, like, I wonder how much extra work goes into creating that functionality where you could just kind of map everything to everything.
Sure.
Is it I never change the settings on I just play the game the way they told me to play it, and
Really?
and just go with
I
it.
get in there, and I'm like, I tweak the living shit out of stuff. I want it to be perfect.
I can't do it.
The Witcher's an interesting example, like where you have to press circle to climb in The Witcher, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I press circle?
Double click.
I will say that
to call your horse.
I take that back. I did go and change Final Fantasy VII. Every time I play that, I switch circle
the
and
Japanese
X.
to American. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a nice. I mean, you don't have to do it, and I'd say 99% of the games I don't touch the controls at all, except for inverting the axis or whatever. But it's just why not? You know what I mean? Like give people some choice and some control. Halo was always really good at that, I thought. Even with like Southpaw controls and stuff, which is like unheard of today. A lot of games don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Brown Bear asks, will Bethesda give us a remastered edition of Skyrim and the Fallout games, as well as Fallout 4?
I think it's within the realm of possibility.
I say no to the Fallout games. Skyrim, I think, that's like the only reason with not doing it is I feel like it would steal some of Fallout's thunder. If that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
You think,
they're
you
already-
think it would steal the thunder even if it's just HD?
Yeah,
I mean,
do,
they're
'cause
already
it's-
trying to get people on Elder Scrolls Online.
Good point. That's an excellent point too. I forgot about that. That's
Like,
a really good
that's
point.
coming to console like a week before E3. So,
Yeah. But I
they're
do
going to be trying to hype that and not necessarily.
I think
say,
it does
"Hey."
because if you're a Skyrim fan, you're like the guys who did Skyrim are now putting out this game. Then you're like, oh, cool. But if like and they're putting out Skyrim as well, then you're starting to split the audience. And well, I can only play one 60-hour
Yeah.
RPG.
Okay.
I think it's totally within the realm of possibility.
I think it's possible. Don't get me wrong.
General
Probable,
Comray.
though.
Do you think we'll ever see another Advanced Wars or Battalion Wars?
Oh fuck.
Yes.
Wish.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Advanced Wars was
Nothing's
so
ever
good.
dead, man.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's dead, but I don't know.
Not
But
Nintendo, especially. No,
Nintendo doesn't go back to the right games.
Yeah.
That's
No
the problem.
Yeah, they don't. But like Advance War would work on a phone pretty well. You know, they're gonna have to start going through their catalog
That'd be
and starting
awesome.
to figure out what makes sense on their phone or on a phone, iOS and Android.
Yeah.
And I think that the obvious thing to do is make Pokemon games. But apart from that, like you have to go into your catalog and be like, well, Fire Emblem and Advance Wars work really well.
But
for instance.
what would the microtransaction look like in an Advance Wars?
I don't know. Different vehicles, power ups. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the
Fog of
problem.
War for
Yeah.
3 squares for $3.
That's
But
the
then,
that's
but then you
DNA
run
style.
into your Plants vs Zombies where
Yeah.
you won't play that Advance Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hope Nintendo still gives people the option to just buy the fucking game.
Yeah, and
I don't think I'm sorry.
something tells me that Nintendo's not gonna go too far down the horrible microtransaction route. Like, I think it will be an option, but I think you'll be able to buy the Pokemon game that will come eventually in my dreams, and then you can just pay for it.
It'll be right
Whatever
there
the
with the
price
MMO
is.
one.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
There's every reason to be scared of what DNA is going to do to Nintendo because that is their style. And Kotaku wrote a really good piece about that a few weeks ago. Or like, just so you know, this is what DNA does. All of the, like they dominate the charts. All of their games are microtransaction laden and free. And this is probably what Nintendo's going to look like. And I read that. I'm like, it's an interesting point. But Nintendo has enough sway with DNA, and they own a piece of DNA now, where they can be like, well, this is not the way we make games. You know, I'm sure they're going to be microtransactions and free to play games, but hopefully they're like, you know, but our players don't necessarily want that. So give them the option to buy the premium version of the game outright. And if they don't buy that, then you can fucking nickel and dime them. And that was the point you were bringing up with Plants vs. Zombies 2. I couldn't play that game after a while because I'm like, I can't fucking handle this. Like, I would have gladly given you $20. I would have given you $50 for this game. But because you're just busting my balls all the time, I'm not giving you shit.
Yeah.
You know, like... So they need to be careful about that and understand their consumer. If they want to bring Nintendo fans to phones, they have to understand the
I think it'll be
sensibilities.
both. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be there's going to be the couple games that you can pay the $20 experience, and there will be a lot of free to play, just mobile games.
I mean,
We'll see.
I
Five of them
I
are
don't
in
play
development.
mobile all that much, but I picked up, like the Final Fantasy fan that I am, I picked up the new one, Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which is by DNA, and the pay element in that is like you can spend some money to get a chance at better gear. Like you get free gear, you get a free gear drop every day. That's rated on a scale of 5, and if you pay, you can get a guaranteed 3-star or better. But you also can get like mithril to like store up and buy one of those things out the gate. So the model's there. If you want to pay, you can try your luck at getting more gear. It's one of those things I'm never going to because it's still playing the lottery to get the better gear.
Yeah.
Like there's no guarantee I'm gonna get the thing that I'm hoping to get.
Final question for the day. Slurpee Man Tony.
Nice.
Love it. What games on the PS4 would you go back and play with Spotify music playing? I thought this was an interesting question. Is there a game? Does that change the experience enough for you guys?
Sorry, which console?
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4.
Yeah, now with Spotify functionality. integrated.
It's so rare for me to play a game and mute it and play. You know what I mean? Like it happens. Like DC Universe Online. I used to play podcasts and just run around and do whatever, like farm exobits or whatever. Something like that where I've put in 500 hours. I have nothing new to hear or do. That's a different thing. But other games I want to hear all of it.
Yeah,
I mean, like
I'm a
something
big
like Borderlands or Diablo, like where it is just kind
Sure.
of loot grinding.
Yeah.
Destiny. Yeah, I might
Yeah.
do that.
I'm weird when it comes to anything like movies or TV
You're just weird.
shows, or I'm very weird. Video games, but like I want whatever they designed for me. I want that whole experience. So it's like even if it is just menu like clings and clangs and stuff, like I want to
Clings and
hear
clangs.
little sound effects and stuff.
I have distinct memories of, because I didn't always used to be that way. I like anytime I play or think of Chrono Cross, I associate with Bare Naked Ladies and vice versa, because like I played that game with the sound off and was listening to a couple of their albums just kind of on repeat and loop.
Yeah.
And so those two are forever linked for me. I don't know if I need that experience with other things. I mean, if I'm playing something like Civilization, I might do that, but that's not PlayStation 4. So
Yeah, I remember back with the original Xbox, it was a big deal that you could rip CDs to the Xbox, and then there were certain games you could like listen to the whatever music you had, and that was really cool. But that was part of the thing. If the Spotify playlist were then actually in the games, it only works for certain games. Like sports games would be great.
If I could
Tony
have,
Hawk
if I
games.
could do GTA, a radio station was my Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But just having Spotify instead of stuff, there's no game I'd go back and and do that with.
Even Peace Walker there, you click on your Walkman, a snake, walk around, you just play your
Well, see, but that's awesome if you did that.
Yeah.
But if it's just having Spotify instead of the game, like,
Sure.
no,
Oh, yeah,
I'm not down with that. But I love that in Metal Gear Solid 4, where it had you can just listen to the
find music in the game
Yeah.
and listen to it. Yeah.
That was good. It was really, really cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the
real quick, can I ask one last question
yes.
since I've got Colin here? PS4 best game now, Resogun or Shovel Knight?
Oh, Resogun.
Still Resogun?
Because I think that Resogun's native to PS4. Shovel Knight's really not. So, and I still think Resogun's probably a better game.
Okay.
It's the same argument with The Last of Us. The Last of Us is obviously a great game. It's a 10, but it's native to PS3. So I'd still say Resogun's the best PS4 game.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Well, there you go.
That's been bothering me for months.
Keeping you awake at night, you're tossing
Since
and
they
turning.
announced it at PlayStation Experience, I was like, I wonder what
shit.
Colin's going to think now.
game changer. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the first and last ever episode 21 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys. These are the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. And that beautiful son of a bitch over there is Trevor Starkey. He's one of you, just like we are. We're all one. Best friends, all of us. This table, kind of funny. I'm just throwing out words at this point. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks
Do
for
you have a
having
good
me.
time?
I had a great time.
Good.
I was so glad I managed to not just kind of sit here silently the whole time.
No, you did
Oh
really
my
good.
God, no,
Yeah,
this
you
is
were
very
really
good. Engaging. Everything was great about this. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, do something nice for your community.
That was really nice. Like
Yeah.
plant a tree.
Yeah, plant a tree or something.
Be a
get a
vigilante.
stop line
Be a
installed.
vigilante.
Don't do that.
Go out and find people doing
No.
bad things, and you punch them.
And punch the bad guys.
Yeah, that's what.
Just punch them hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, then call the cops. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how Batman started.
Me neither.
There's no movies dictating that. There's no one's ever told that story of
Parents
how
were
Batman
bad.
got started. His parents were bad. They don't
They
understand.
died in an alley, Greg.
I don't think that's right.
No, it is.
You're thinking of Daredevil.
Definitely not.
No, Daredevil's dad died in a fight.
Fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm so bad at this.
I wanted to bring up that I was wearing my baller shirt because this obviously is
Yeah.
for this community what baller feels like.
Yeah, fuck, damn it. Oh, next week I will.
I mean, I'm still recording.
No.
Well,
Bye,
well,
bye, everybody.
I've got a possible
Bye,
end
Gamescast.
credits tag if you want to do that. If I were young, I would run without stopping. If I were old, I would cherish my days. If I were you, I would. What's the line? Count all my blessings. And if you were here, we'd fly away. Go Beyond. Danny and Tori, 2-player co-op.
Put that at the end of this thing.
Piss poor Christopher Walken impression.
Oh, trust me.
Thank you.
Many worse ones.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute utmost pleasure to serve you.
Thank you.
Dude, thank you.